You are what you consistently think about. Whether you think you'll win or lose, you're right. That's a challenge I think a lot of us face. We are stuck in our head, in our mind, telling ourselves why we can't do something, why we're not good enough. We're born in the wrong country. We have the wrong skin color. We're the wrong gender. We have the wrong family. We have the wrong education. And we just keep replaying these same stories over and over and over and over and over again. And you don't win because you believe that you can't win. That's what the great rewiring has to take place inside all of us, because that's why I think that lack of belief is the world's #1 problem. I'm on a mission to solve the world's #1 problem. People do not believe in themselves to create amazing things. I think everybody has Michael Jordan level genius at something. That you are the greatest in the world at something. And it's probably not what you went to school for, and it's probably not what your parents did for a living. It's something totally different. And a challenge in being able to go and chase down something that's totally different is the belief that it's possible. Need motivation?
Watch a Top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because in my first business, I struggled to stay afloat. I quit my business partner, and the thing that kept me going was studying the stories of famous entrepreneurs and seeing how they struggled and seeing what they had to overcome and listening to their wisdom, motivation, gave me the courage, the strength, the belief to go one more day and see my business through. And in all honesty, I still need the inspiration, wisdom, motivation today for my business too. So today, let's learn from me and my team's take on my 10 rules for success. Enjoy.
Because when you are around people who are not living their life, who are complaining, who are negative, who may not be toxic, but who are stuck, people who are stuck, the easiest thing to do is to get stuck yourself and to have the thought patterns that keep you stuck. This is why I create all my channels, because I need it for me, because I want to be around people who challenge me, who when I see what they're doing, it forces me to think different, to think bigger, to want to do more, to want to be a better Evan Carmichael, whatever that means, right? To just feel like I want to grow and do more because I'm around the people who are doing that. Where if you stay stuck with the people that you're in right now, you stay stuck in the environment that you're participating in right now, then you will likely stay there and not grow and not improve and not learn and not get better. Now, that doesn't mean that you stop caring. It doesn't mean that you stop giving. That doesn't mean that you stop contributing. In fact, it's the opposite. You, if you're watching this video, you're on a journey. You're on a growth curve, and you want to go here, right? You want to climb. You want to get better. You want to go over there, and there may be people who are even pulling you back, actively saying not to do that, don't do that, you can't do that. The goal isn't even necessarily to leave these people behind. The goal could be to come back and help them. But how can you help them, and how can you pour even more into them? Well, by learning more and improving yourself more. That every time that you learn something and you get better at something, you can come back and pour it into other people. That when you're taking your growth curve, you're stepping, you're climbing, you're improving, you're getting better, every step that you take, if you move to step number 4, you can help other people get to step number 3. You can reach back and help them climb up another step. So it doesn't mean that you stop being optimistic and positive and helpful for the people around you. That's your light. That's your gift. That's what you are so amazing at. But it does mean that you need to inject newness into your environment, because your environment is crafting your thoughts, and your thoughts are keeping you stuck. You might have these moments where you feel bold and brave and you can do something else, but those aren't consistent. And because the boldness in thought is not consistent, the boldness in action is not consistent. And so you stay stuck doing the same thing, knowing that you're capable of more, but not doing the thing. And this is a game for everybody. This is for myself. This is for you. This is for the people who are ahead of you on their growth curve. You never want to stop. There's always a new level of self-talk and self-belief to get you to the next thing that's possible. So it's why I do what I do, because I need it for me. I need to be around people who inspire me every day so that I can continue to organize for kindness, right? Martin Luther King had a great quote about organizing for kindness, that people organize for negativity. They'll organize looting, and they'll organize violence, and they'll organize wars, and they'll organize negativity. Well, who's organizing for kindness, right? That's what we need to do. but you need to have the inspired environment to create the inspired thoughts to allow the inspired action to come out. So you can organize for kindness too. So let's break down, how do you actually start doing it? How do you actually start to change that self-talk to be a more positive one so that you can actually follow through on the great ideas that you have for yourself? Step number 1 is to be around your heroes. Who are your heroes who have done the thing that you love doing? Either the actual work itself, like they're in your industry and they have done the thing. If you know my story, I looked up to Bill Gates. He had a software company. I had a software company. I learned from him to build my company. I haven't met him but his strategy saved my company. And then I also learned from someone like Oprah Winfrey or Kanye West, or people who are not in my industry, but I just like for some reason. I'm going to go and learn from them. So who are your heroes? Either in your industry or people that you just look up to for some reason, and force yourself to spend more time with them. Be around them more. Put their pictures up on the wall behind you. My favorite entrepreneur of all time is E.P. Giannini, who started Bank of America. Put their pictures on the wall behind you. Subscribe to their YouTube channels if they have it. Follow them on social media, read their books, listen to their podcasts, like have them be in your environment as much as possible, because they will transport you to another world. They will help you change that self-talk in your head, because the people who have done the thing that you want to do, your heroes, the people you look up to, likely have done it with less than what you have right now. The resources that you have right now, the heart that you have right now, the mental capacity that you have right now, the tools at your disposal. You have the internet. You've got a lot of tools at your disposal. You've got a lot of technology at your disposal that your heroes didn't have as much access to, if any, and they went off and won. So yes, it might be difficult, but if they can do it, you can do it too. The question is, who are you going to listen to? The voice that says it's too hard, I'm never going to do it, or the voice that says, well, if they can do it, I can do it too. So you have to be around. You want to change that self-talk, you have to be around your mentors, your heroes, because they will pull you to a different place. Step number 2 is to create a calendar that has your habits in there. Your goals that you've set for yourself needs to be reflected in the habits, because goals don't accomplish themselves. Goals will happen when you put time in your calendar to go and make it happen. I'm making this video because it's in my calendar, this block of time right now, to go make videos, right? What do you need to put in your calendar so that it's not just a hope, a dream, a goal, but it actually becomes something that's in reality? And then to start to teach yourself that you do the things that are in your own calendar. You want to start to change your self-belief, your self-talk, that voice inside your head. You have to teach yourself that you follow through on the things that you say you're going to do. Have fewer goals. Have fewer things that you write down in your calendar. But when they're in there, they get done. Because here's what happens. Every time you set a goal, every time you put something in your calendar and you don't do it, you're training yourself that the next time you put something in your calendar, that's not going to get done too. You're losing credibility with yourself. Not even somebody else saying you can't do it. It's you, your own voice saying you can't do it because you haven't done the last thing that you said you were going to do or the thing before that. So the way to start to rewire that is to, when you put something in your calendar, it's going to get done. To even lower the barrier, lower the standard for what has to get done for you to get the check mark that you accomplished this thing. That when it gets put in your calendar, you are going to be the person who actually follows through. That starts to shift identity. That starts to help you believe more in yourself, that the next thing that you add in your calendar, you're also going to get done. So how do we start to change that self-talk, right? That criticism or compassionate voice in our head. How do we shift towards belief? 1, be around our mentors and our heroes, the people who inspire us to do it. 2, create a calendar that reflects our goals. Our actions have to map to our ambitions, right? Has to be in your calendar, and teach yourself that you do the things that are in your calendar. And step number 3 would be to collect good people. I'm a huge fan of collecting good people. If you believe, like I believe, that your environment is keeping you stuck and keeping you where you are, okay, a shift can be to be around your heroes, but you may never meet them. Good people. When you're around the right people who fill you up as opposed to you filling others up all the time, it changes everything. You're a giver, you're caring, you've got a big heart. It's why you're part of this community. I love you for that. And keep going, keep doing it. Don't stop pouring into others. But who's pouring into you? When you walk away from a conversation, how often do you feel better about yourself? How often do you have more energy as opposed to, well, that was draining to me. You need to start to inject the people who make you feel better, who give you more energy. And you may know some of them. They may not be the closest of friends to you yet, but whenever you meet somebody, if it's at an event or a conference or a group or in the comment section or on a Discord, and they just make you feel better, fight to try to find a way to spend more time with them. The way I'll often do it is through businesses. I end up setting companies with them because I love them so much. It's a way to spend more time with them. But it can be awkward at the beginning. Like, you don't know what you're gonna do, but you be the person to reach out to say, hey, I'd love to have a coffee with you next week. Or maybe we can schedule a monthly mastermind with us and maybe a couple other people. Like, you reach out to find a way to collect good people and fight to spend more time with them. Because when you're around actual humans who are in front of you, who make you feel better about yourself and give you the energy that you're pouring into other people, it gives you more hope, more momentum, and increases the chances of you actually following through. So get into the practice of collecting good people. Lack of belief is the single biggest problem in the world. You have Michael Jordan level genius at something. You are the greatest in the world at something. It's just your belief, my belief too, in the ability to actually go and chase it down that will make the difference between the life that you have right now and the life that you know you're capable of living. Let's solve that together.
Rule number 2 is outwork your competition. Hard work is your ticket in. Hard work doesn't guarantee your success, but it's your ticket in. There's nobody who you look up to, who you respect, who you want to be like, who did not work incredibly hard to get to where they're at. Now, people say, work smart, work smart, work. Yes, there's lots of people who work hard and never get anywhere close to their goals. There's lots of people who work incredibly hard who stay earning minimum wage their entire life because they didn't work smart, they were only working hard. But there's nobody who just works smart and doesn't work hard. Even if they're fooling you with their pictures on Instagram, it's that combination of working hard plus working smart. I've covered most of these people, I've hung out with a lot of these people, I see the incredible smarts that they have in the activities that they choose, but also just the work ethic they have, the show up every day and stay consistent on their goals. So in this video, I'm gonna try to give you some tips and steps on how to actually do it. Like, how do you stay consistent? How do you figure out how to work hard, but also work smart on accomplishing your mission? So let's get it started. First off, you have to actually love the thing, right? I mean, how many times have you started a business because you thought it was gonna make you a lot of money? Be honest, I've done it too. You start a business because you think it's gonna make you money, and then you quickly get bored of it. You quickly realize it's not making you money, and you don't wanna do it anymore. And you close it down and move on to the next thing. And so many people are just opportunity hopping, jump to the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing, without ever actually loving any of the things. And so you never actually win. You might make a little bit of money here and there. You know, you might be able to pay some of your bills off, it's great, but you're not living the life that you want, because you're just opportunity hopping instead of actually finding the thing that you love doing. Where the number one rule for success, if you watch any of my videos, we've covered so many people, take my word for it or go do your own research. The number one rule for success is that you have to love what you're doing. You have to love the process, the actual work that you're doing. It doesn't feel like work because you like it so much. Making videos doesn't feel like work because I like it, because I like the process. I like making it. I like making this video more than getting something like this, right? It's great. Hey, 1 million subscribers, awesome. Or the other channel is great. But I like the feeling of making this video, knowing that you right now are watching it. That means something to me. I like it. That's why I keep going. Otherwise, it's crazy, you know? 10,000 videos plus later. Why? Like, how do you keep going? Because I like it. It doesn't feel like work to me. I talk about it when I do interviews. You know, how people ask me, how have you not burnt out already? Like, so many people are burning out on YouTube. Well, it's not just YouTube, it's entrepreneurship. People burn out of entrepreneurship, not just having a YouTube channel. Why do you burn out of entrepreneurship? Well, because you stop actually liking, there's too much of the work that you're doing that you don't like anymore. Right? There's too much of the work that you're doing. You might still love the vision for where you're going. If you don't love the vision, you gotta get out ASAP. But you might still love the vision, but you're just taking on too much activity that you don't like doing anymore. So when I'm talking to somebody on their podcast, I like doing interviews. It makes me happy. It brings me joy to try to hit somebody else's audience, right? To try to spread belief to an even wider net. And so if I'm talking to somebody, I say, well, does this work for you? Because in talking to you, this doesn't work for me. This is fun. I'm gonna leave this interview with more energy than I came in. That's a sign that you're doing the right thing. So I like this, thank you. You're giving me, I'm giving you content and exposure for your channel, but you're giving me a gift because this is fun. You're giving me more energy. It doesn't feel like work. The second it starts to feel like work, you have to adjust. And it might be a big adjustment. Maybe you shouldn't be doing your business anymore, period, because you were just opportunity hopping. You don't actually love the thing. Or maybe you just need to make a minor adjustment and realize, okay, this makes sense as a strategy, but it's just not the right strategy for me. I need to move on and do something else. Even though it works for some other people, it's not me. I don't want to do it. So that's where we start transitioning to working smart, right? So working hard is you showing up every day, working towards your goals, that your purpose means something to you, and that the work you do, you actually enjoy and having fun in. The working smart is then figuring out there's so many different ways to win inside your industry. There's so many different ways to win. There's so many people who have one, and there's not just one path. This is where we get locked up, is feeling like I have to do it this way, but you don't actually love doing it that way. And the second you start taking things on because you think it's the smart thing to do, but you have no interest in doing it, you will never win. You will never win doing work that you hate. It's not gonna happen. You will never win doing work that you hate. You'll say that you'll do whatever it takes, you won't. You'll quit, you'll give up on it because you don't like it. Chasing the goal alone is not enough. You have to actually enjoy the process of getting to the goal, that the process becomes more important than the goal. It gives you more satisfaction and happiness and pleasure than hitting the goal. How many times have you hit a goal and then been disappointed after, right? You're like, oh, what's next? Sometimes borderline depression, right? Ted Turner's dad had a goal to hit $1 million. He did it and then he killed himself because he thought things were gonna change, but he realized his life was still the same. So having goals are really good and important, but more important than the goal is the process of accomplishing the goal. You have to actually like the work. So how do you be smart? Well, you have to do things that bring value to people that you also enjoy. So in the course of my career, on YouTube at least, I've got a bunch of great compliments. The two that stand out in this context are Gary Vee and Ed Milet, where Gary Vee said, I'm the content DJ that inspires people. He said, hey, you watch so many videos and then DJ it to inspire people. And Ed Milet said that I'm the modern day Napoleon Hill, that Napoleon Hill is the greatest person in personal development history, and that I'm the modern day Napoleon Hill. Now, when they both said that, like, I don't know, I'm still working on receiving compliments, so I was kind of blown away by both of them. And then I asked, hey, well, can I use that in my in my bio or my profiles? But what I do is I love modeling success. You know, it's why I make all this content. It's why I have all these people, you know, behind me on the wall. You know, we got Steve Jobs and Ipi Giannini and my parents and Howard Schultz and Kanye West. Like, I love modeling success. And I want to share my own voice, my own thoughts, my own opinions, my own learnings, my own stories, my own lessons. And somewhere in that mix is now Evan Carmichael. Where some people are, if you look at Gary or Ed or whoever else, they're just sharing their own thoughts for the most part. They might have guests on at interviews. They might occasionally have a quote from somebody else, but it's their own views and opinions. I never needed to be the guy. You know, I like sharing other people's stuff. I like sharing what I learned from their story. And I've reluctantly kind of stepped forward to share my own. I used to think nobody would care about my story or what I had to say, or why would you care about me when I'm showcasing Elon Musk? Like, who am I? But people kept asking for my story, where I came from. So I started sharing it more. And so in that mix became Evan Carmichael. That's how I'm different than everybody else. Same thing for you. You know, what do you love doing that then can also bring value to other people? And what combinations of things can you bring together instead of thinking I can do this or I can do this? In the mix is your next great opportunity. When you can take 2 or 3 of your interests and not do them as the or, right? Instead of thinking or, you think and. Instead of or, you think and. But not 3 different businesses. This is where people get tripped up. It's not 3 different businesses. It's one business that does all 3 of those things combined in a way that nobody else has done it before, because nobody can replicate that. The thing that you love doing, or the things that you love doing, smushed together that don't make sense for anybody else, is how you're going to end up winning. That's how you're going to win. James Altucher calls it idea sex. So you have one idea and another idea, and they have sex, and then out comes your great idea. I like it. That's how you start working smart. So working hard is your ticket in. Working hard, if you're not willing to work hard, you're just not ever going to win, period. How do you work hard? Well, you actually have to like the work so it doesn't feel like work. That Jerry Seinfeld calls it the torture you can endure, that it's torture for other people, but for you, he's like, I like this. This is fun. This doesn't feel like torture. You know, the idea of making 10,000 videos, 12,000 videos, whatever, that would be torture for a lot of people. It's like, okay, that's cool. I like it. Let's go. Let's make another 10,000. Let's keep going. And then inside of that is, what do you love doing that can bring value to other people in a way that only you can do it? By mixing some of the things, your passions, your interests together that have never been mixed before together in that unique way, that's how you're going to win. Instead of saying that that's not practical, instead of saying that they're two different businesses, instead of saying nobody's going to care, no. That's how you're going to win. You mix those things together. Focus on then how you can use that mix to bring value to your customers. And now nobody can touch you. For people people message me and say, hey, Evan, this person is copying you. This person is also doing top 10 rules of success. This person is like, I don't care. Like, I spend zero time thinking about that, because if you are just trying to be Evan Carmichael, you're never going to be Evan Carmichael, right? The most you're going to be is an Evan Carmichael Jr. Instead of trying to be an Elvis impersonator, go make your own music, right? So anybody who's just trying to copy me, I don't care about it. It's the people who are creating new, innovative things that I consider to be the real competition. Hard work is your ticket in. You have to love what you're doing. That allows you to keep going. Then you have to figure out inside of what you love, how can you combine your interests, your passions, your special things that make you a special, unique snowflake and bring value to people. And when you figure that out, that's the unique angle of working hard plus working smart. That won't even feel like you're working hard or even working that smart. You're just doing you and helping people. And that's how you win.
Rule number 3 is experiment. The key to experimenting is expecting to suck. Just expect to suck. Expect it not to work out. Expect it to be a total disaster. Expect to suck, which gives yourself the permission to go and try. We're holding ourselves back from trying because you may not expect to be great, but you expect to be pretty good. I think this is the problem for a lot of entrepreneurs is you have an idea, you have a dream, you don't think you're going to be the next Jeff Bezos, maybe yes, but maybe no. You're going to make your own YouTube channel, you're not going to be great on camera, but you expect to be pretty good. You know, you don't expect to be Bezos, but you expect to be pretty good in your business. And then what ends up happening is you start and you realize, oh my gosh, I'm not only not Bezos level, I'm terrible. I see it all the time with people who are starting their YouTube channels. They don't expect to be terrible on camera. They don't expect to be whoever you think is a great on-camera personality. And then they record themselves. And if they thought they'd be like an 8 out of 10, they don't expect to be 10. They think they'd be 8. And then they watch it back like, oh my gosh, I'm a 2. I'm a 2 out of 10. And then they stop and they never release the video. They never try the next thing because they're convinced that they just suck, that they suck as a human and that they'll never get the skills. Well, how do you get the skills? By practicing, by doing. Just because you're a 2 out of 10 now doesn't mean that you can't become an 8 or a 9 or a 10. How do you get there? How do you go from a 2 to an 8 or 9 or 10 at the thing that you want to be great at? By practicing, by learning, by doing, not just by researching and studying and watching other people. You have to get into the trenches and start to create and start to make. That's how you move. But people are too afraid to fail that they don't even try. You're so afraid to fail that you don't even try. And the way through it is expecting to suck. I am right now learning about NFTs. And now I know enough to be dangerous about NFTs. But 2 months ago, I didn't. I knew nothing. I didn't know what it stood for. Non-fungible. I didn't even know what a fungible token, nothing made sense. I didn't understand what WAGME meant. I didn't understand what LFG meant. I didn't understand what HODL meant. I didn't know the difference between Bitcoin or Ethereum. I didn't know what a MetaMask wallet was. All of this stuff, zero idea. And the more I just looked at it from the outside, the more I got stressed out, confused, overwhelmed. I don't understand any of this stuff. I feel like a total beginner. And so I'm not going to learn it. And I want to be the person who jumps on things, who learns things, who doesn't accept scary, difficult, or hard as good enough reasons for me not to do it. So I dove in and I asked all of those stupid questions. And I learned not just by reading about it, but by launching my own NFT projects and putting it out there and starting to work with people. I went into the different Discords and Twitter. I didn't even know what Discord was. I wasn't using Discord. NFT land is Discord and Twitter. I had to install Discord and get active on it. I had to reignite my Twitter account. Like, you guys use Twitter? I haven't used Twitter for years, but Twitter is where the game is at. So I'm picking up my Twitter game again. And I'm asking what seems to be stupid questions. I'm asking all the beginner questions. And I'm launching my own NFT project to learn, to understand. And now I know enough to be dangerous. I'm not an expert at it, but I know enough to be dangerous. And that happened in a relatively short amount of time because I was willing to experiment and I was willing to expect to suck at the beginning. I'm going to go in, be a total noob, right? Total newbie, total beginner, ask the questions, and then I'm going to learn through that process and get better at it. You can surprise yourself with how much you can learn. You can surprise yourself with how much you can learn at the beginning if you're just willing to detach yourself. That just because you suck at a skill doesn't mean that you suck as a human. This is where we get stuck. It's like, oh, I suck at that, therefore I suck, and I'm never going to get better, so I'm going to stop and go do something else that makes me feel good. Instead, say, no, I suck at this skill, and I feel good for trying, and I'm going to keep getting better at this so that I can improve my skill from a 2 to a 2.5 to a 3 to a 5 to an 8 to a 10. Right? So how do we start to do it? How do we start to give ourselves more permission to experiment, give ourselves permission to fail, give ourselves permission to suck? How do we do it? Step number 1, trust your ideas. Trust that the ideas that come to you are good. Trust that that idea that you're thinking about right now is good. Just do a quick gut check. Are you trying to rip people off, or are you trying to serve and try to help? Are you trying to just take their money, put it in your bank account and go buy your boat? Or are you trying to actually do some good, right? If you're watching this channel, hopefully you're in the second category. You're trying to serve, you're trying to help, you're trying to create something of value. So if that is your intention, then trust your ideas. Stop holding yourself back. Stop saying that you can't do it. Stop finding all the reasons in your head that you cannot take action, because your heroes have done more with less than what you already have right now. Whoever your heroes are, whoever you look up to, Jeff Bezos, whoever, Oprah Winfrey, whoever, they started with less than what you have right now. They could do it. You can do it too. You can. So if the idea is a good one, it feels right, it's heart-centric, you want to serve, you want to bring value to people, then trust that idea. Trust it. Step number 2, immediate action. Immediate action. The problem is we get stuck in overthinking, over-planning, over-preparing, over-strategizing, over-asking other people, well, what do you think I should do? Stop that. Immediate action. What's the first thing that you can do? If you want to get into NFTs, go join somebody's Discord. Go launch your own single NFT. You're going to make tons of mistakes. Perfect. Launch it. You want to launch a podcast? Great. Start your podcast today. You want to create a YouTube channel? Awesome. Pull out your phone, record your video. You're a YouTuber now, right? You want to launch a fashion business? Perfect. Create a logo, make a t-shirt. Like, just start. It doesn't have to be anything great. Just start. The biggest thing for most people that's missing is just momentum. It's all of these things stuck in your head and not enough being created in the world. And to get all this organized and structured and actually making sense, you have to actually put something out. So trust your ideas, that they're good, that they're of value, that they will serve. And then step number 2 is do something about it. Immediate, in the moment action. Let's go. Right? Stop overthinking it, and today something has to happen. And then step number 3 is just expect to suck. Expect to suck. Expect it not to work out. Expect not to make money on this. Expect no comments, no replies, no feedback. Expect it to just fail. Expect it to be a total failure. If you expect that going in, then you're not surprised when it doesn't work out. And you're not taking it personally that you tried this thing and nobody cares about it right now. You're lowering the burden for what has to happen for you to feel good about yourself. If you only feel good when you win, then you will never try, right? If you will only take a yes and enter that competition, enter that race, or do that thing, if you know that you're going to win, you will never try. You will stay stuck doing the easy stuff for the rest of your life and never accomplish what you're capable of, never hit anywhere close to your potential. So you have to expect it just to suck. And again, by it sucking, by getting a sucky result, it actually means that you're amazing. It doesn't mean that you suck as a human. You only suck as a human is if you don't try. Start to reward yourself for trying. Start to reward yourself for the effort. Start to reward yourself for doing the things that are outside your comfort zone, that are scary for you. Scary, difficult, hard, right? You think of that, you're doing it. And then you reward yourself. Say, man, I did that. I can't believe I did that. It was crazy. Even though it didn't work out. Because you know that if you kept trying and kept learning and kept improving, that it, of course, is going to work out. You just have to show up with that level of energy and enthusiasm and intent every day. The difference between where you are right now and where you want to be is how many experiments you're putting out there, how many ideas that you've got that you're trying, because you will not be rewarded for the ideas that stay stuck in your head. And more importantly, you don't want to get to the end of your life and look back and say, I had all these ideas, but I was too afraid of failing that I never tried any of them. Wayne Dyer says, don't let that song die within you. You got to play the song while you're alive. You've got a great song in you. Let's get it out to the world.
Rule number 4 is build momentum.
The only thing you're missing is momentum. This is one of the most frustrating things with entrepreneurs, because you've got the heart, you've got the soul, you've got the desire to serve, you know you're capable of more, you see these people doing great things, and you say, why can't that be me? I've got everything, I've got all the tools, why am I not having more success when I see all these other people winning? Because you don't have momentum. Knowing alone is not enough. Watching this video is not enough. Researching, going to conferences, events, it's not enough. It gives us this temporary high. It's so fun to think about where we could be and what we could do and living in dream mode of the things that we want to create. That's so exciting, right? But until you start actually doing something, until you start going through that little fear zone to start actually creating, nothing happens. And this is one of the great missions of my life, is trying to get heart-centered entrepreneurs with a cause you want to serve and just getting you out of the starting gate, and then just helping you stay consistent on the thing. Those two things, from idea to just doing something and then finding a way to stay consistent. If you did that, that's all you're missing. If you did that, your life will be dramatically different. The people you're going to serve, the amount of income you're going to make, the life you can provide for yourself and your family, the massive just flow of goodness you're going to create for the world will be totally different. You will be a totally different person 1 year from today if you did those simple things. The only thing you're missing is momentum. The only thing you're missing is momentum. I promise you. I look at my YouTube channel and everything that we've done here, and man, it took me so long to get going. It took me so long to get out of my head. It took me so long to get comfortable making videos. No matter how much people told me, just press record and just do it. It's still that voice inside my head is like, well, I'm so awkward in front of the camera and I don't know what I'm going to say, and I'm trying to memorize my script and what camera should I buy, and all of the things that we tell ourselves are important that aren't. You know, if you look at my growth on YouTube, the first 5 years was so slow. The first 5 years was so incredibly slow because I started and stopped and started and stopped and started and stopped and convinced myself of why I couldn't do it. And my whole intent with this is to try to shake you to say, don't waste 5 years like I did. Because in the second 5 years, that's when my channel started to really blow up and grow. And that's when I started to see the impact and see the growth and see the money coming in, all of it. It started to take off because I just started creating a lot more momentum. I stopped watching my videos and reminding myself of how much I sucked and just kept going. So how do you do it? How do you start building momentum? How do you start taking the thing that you know is inside you, that you know you're capable of more, that you don't want to be stuck in the same spot 1 year from today? It's like, I need to finally make something happen, right? Is that you? Are you ready for that? How do we actually start getting the momentum in our lives? I'm going to give you 3 strategies, okay? Number 1, your morning routine has to be on point. As I said in the top of this video, successful people don't wake up and say, yes, oh my gosh, what a day. I'm going to take over. This is going to be amazing. I woke up and I was tired and I don't even remember what day it is. And I got lines in my face and I'm struggling to get out of bed, right? Everybody wakes up the same way. Don't judge yourself and feel like you suck because you woke up and you were tired and didn't feel super motivated to go off and crush your day, right? That's everybody. That's me, that's Brendan Burchard, that's Tony Robbins, that's Oprah Winfrey, everybody. The difference is the routine to set you up for success. And chances are, if you watch this video, you already have a morning routine, right? You're an achiever, you have a morning routine. So I want to take this to the next level for people with a morning routine, because your morning routine is probably not working for you. Most of the world doesn't have a morning routine. Most of the world wakes up like an accident. Most of the world wakes up, falls into their phone, and starts responding to other people's emergencies, right? That's probably not you, at least not every day. You might be 50-50, but you probably have a morning routine. What's the value of a morning routine? The value of a morning routine is to get you the feeling of bold, confidence, and courage. That's why you have a morning routine. It's supposed to help you go and win the day. If you don't feel confident, bold, and courage at the end of your morning routine, then you've done something wrong. Either the morning routine itself is broken and you need to add something in, or you just didn't do it with enough intent. Most achievers, here's what's happening. I want you to do a fair self-assessment and audit of your morning routine. Most achievers, what you're doing is you have your list of things that you're supposed to do in the morning, and you probably hit those maybe 70 to 80% of the time. But most of the time of those 70 to 80%, you're just checking the box. You said you're going to do this. Okay, I'm going to work out. I'm going to watch this video. I'm going to read this book. I'm going to listen to this podcast. So I'm going to whatever. But you're not intentional with it. Having this video on, I created the Espresso channel here to try to support you, to try to be there for your morning routine, to give you a shot of espresso every day to start your day. Let's go. But if you're watching this video while you're making your bed and brushing your teeth and looking over your email and browsing through social media, guess what happens? You're not getting the feeling. You could check the box to say, yep, watch the video. But if you don't feel courageous and bold, you didn't do it with enough intent. You didn't do it with enough focus. You were distracted all the way through. And so this is what happens with achievers in their morning routine is you check the box for all the things you said you were going to do, but you don't feel any better than you did when you woke up. And if you don't feel any better than you did when you woke up, you're not going to go off and win the day. So the most important part of a morning routine, whether it takes you 5 minutes or 3 hours, is getting the feeling. So do an honest self-assessment. Do you feel bold at the end of your morning routine? And if not, what do you need to add in there so that you do? Or do you need to go back and just do your morning routine with actual intention? Because if you'd started your day with the thing that made you feel bold, powerful, unstoppable, confident, your life will dramatically change 1 year from today. I promise you. So number 1 is you have to fix your morning routine. Number 2, to get more momentum. How do we get more momentum in our lives? Number 2 is to go from idea to action. Start to teach yourself that you come up with great ideas. Normally what happens when you get an idea, what happens? Normally when you get an idea, we get excited. Maybe you tell your friends about it, your family, or you're just researching and planning and brainstorming. You get excited about it. And then what happens is this little voice inside your head tells you all the reasons why you can't do it. You can't do it because of this, because of that, because you don't have the connections, or the money, the skills, or the education, the family, or whatever. There's always some reason. And so to combat that, you try to do more research and more planning and more understanding to try to have the perfect plan. And this was me, guys. I lost a $40 million deal when I was in my 20s because I was trying to be too perfect, because I was afraid. And all I really need to do is get more momentum. So you have to teach yourself to go from idea to action. When you get that idea, trust that the idea came to you for a reason. Trust that the intention is good. Is the intention good? Is the intention to serve? Is the intention to help? Yes, perfect. Action. Something today. Has to happen today. Use your best energy on creating some kind of momentum in perfect action versus trying to have the perfect plan. And then you wake up tomorrow and you've already talked yourself down and you can't do it. So number one is you have to fix your morning routine. Number two is you have to go from idea to action. And then number three is to change your environment. The more that you are around the people who are doing the thing that you want to do, the more that starts to seep into you too. It's why I have so many channels, because there's always content, hopefully, out there for you. You might say, yeah, but I don't know anybody, Evan, who's successful. I can't hang out with Brendan Burchard or Oprah or whoever. I don't know these people. Great. I know Brendan, but I don't know Oprah. And I didn't know Brendan when I first got started. How did I learn? From the videos, having videos around me every day, having these people on the wall behind me, even wearing this hoodie when I feel like Batman, putting it on every morning, makes a big difference to start to change your environment, to be around the people who are thinking the way that you want to think. The people around you right now are influencing you to stay where you are. Right? Think about the people who you hang out with now. That old expression of you are the average of the 5 closest people to you. Yeah. Great. So who are the 5 closest people to you? They are influencing your thinking and they're keeping you stuck where you are right now. And if you love where you are right now, great. But if you know you want to do more, then you have to start to change what starts to influence you consistently, not these one-off moments of inspiration and boldness, but consistency. That's the thing that's missing. You might have this one day that's amazing. Oh my gosh, I can do anything. And then what happens? You wake up tomorrow and all that energy is gone. It's a start and stop and start and stop and start and stop that is holding you back. So be strategic with your environment to think about, how do I start to surround myself with the people, with the videos, with the books, with the podcasts, with the physical environment that make me feel like I can do more, that you can do more. Fix those 3 things. Fix your morning routine, go from idea to action, and fix your environment. Do that, because the only thing you're missing is momentum. The only thing you have the heart, you have the care, you have the desire to serve, you have great ideas inside you. Other people are winning with inferior ideas, with less of a desire to serve than you do. And they're winning. And the only difference is they got started and they're going. The only thing you're missing is momentum. I can't wait to see you actually start to apply it to make massive change in your life and your business. Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there.
Rule number 5 is show up.
People don't show up for one of 3 reasons. Number 1 is you're afraid. You're afraid of rejection, you're afraid of failure, you're afraid of it not working out, and so you just don't show up. Number 2 is you're not consistent. You show up some days, but you don't show up other days because you don't have the routines and habits in place to make you show up consistently every single day. And number 3 is you don't want to. You don't want to show up because you don't actually enjoy the thing that you're about to do. You would rather procrastinate on it because you don't love it, and showing up is more painful than just sitting around. So my goal today with this video is to help you bust through these so that you can show up for life and have the impact that you want to have. So I think the fear of showing up is actually a good thing. It means that you are doing something different, something outside your comfort zone, something that is not normal, that is new, and that's good. You want to be pushing the envelope. If there was nothing that you were afraid to show up to today, tomorrow, next week, then you're not growing, you're not learning, you're not pushing against your boundaries and comfort zones. And so even today, I had to show up. And again, it should be every single day. So today, I was procrastinating on sending out an email to Grant, as well as a couple other people, where I'm looking at doing more collaborations, more work on my YouTube channel, more cross-pollination connection to other successful YouTubers to help the whole entrepreneur YouTube community grow, right? I want to get the message out there. I want to be playing a bigger game. And so I emailed Grant and I emailed 4 other people with a new idea that I had. So when the idea was first suggested to me about doing this and reaching out, I had a little bit of nerves, like, okay, it's gonna require an ask. I might get rejected, it may not work out. And I had it scheduled for today, because today was my YouTube day. And so I look at the list today, I'm like, maybe I should start with 1 person or 2 people, or just pick the easy people. And just the fact that I felt that just the fact that that was one of the reasons meant I had to go and do 5. I had to do a bigger number. I had to go after the harder people. I had to do the people that I thought may say yes, may say no, may make me look bad if they say no. And a lot of it is just head games. The honest truth is, Grant's probably not going to care. Grant's probably going to say yes. Like 98% chance he says yes, and he passes it on to somebody on his team. We start working together and we create the collaboration. 1% chance he ignores it, and 1% chance he says no. But it's not the logical, rational things that hold us back. It's the emotional, fearful things. And so what I've trained myself to do is anytime I feel that, oh my God, it may not work out, then I have to do it. I have to do it. I have just to show myself, because the worst thing you can do is get to the edge of the cliff and say you're gonna jump and then not jump. It's better not to catch that you're nervous. It's better not to even come up with the idea, to just float around in ignorance. Ignorance is bliss, than to catch it and then play small. And so as soon as you catch it, I've trained myself, I want you to do the same thing. As soon as you catch it, train yourself to do it. Even if it doesn't work out, just training yourself that you don't back down when you are afraid. So I'm gonna give you a 3-step process that you can follow to help you conquer your fears, to help you show up consistently every day. Let's do it. Number 1 is tell yourself that you do scary things. One of the biggest reasons why people don't advance their ideas forward is because it's scary. It's scary. You're afraid. Amazing. That is now no longer an acceptable reason. You do scary things. You love scary things. You embrace scary things. You want to do scary things. This isn't just a mindset trick. It's actually true. You want to do scary things. You do. What's the opposite of scary things? The opposite of scary, if you walk through life and you're never scared of anything, it's not that you're super confident. No, it means that you're living inside your comfort zone. It means you're only doing things that have zero fear, that you have absolute certainty in because you've done it before. You're bored. You're living inside your bubble. And you need to break out, because that means you're photocopying your life every single day. If there's nothing in your calendar that makes you scared, you hate your life. And so pay attention to the language. Pay attention to how you talk to yourself. Pay attention to when you feel afraid. And as long as it's not against your code of ethics or doing something stupid, don't go jump out of an airplane without a parachute because you're afraid, right? Most of the things you're afraid of are not life-threatening. Teach yourself that you do scary things, you love scary things, and you're not allowed to use that as an excuse anymore for not taking action. Number 2 is think, what makes you soar? What is the thing that gets you feeling bold, alive, confident, ready to take action, wanting to show up to life? What is it? I go through 5 S's every morning as part of my morning routine. The first is sing, and then sun, and then soar, and then sweat, and then scare. The most important part is soar though. It's a thing that I do to make me come alive, that makes me want to soar. And so for me, what I do is I think about an entrepreneur that I helped yesterday, and then I pull up my phone, and then I record a message. And I share that to my YouTube stories, Instagram stories, Twitter, LinkedIn, I put it everywhere. I need to feel like the work that I do matters. Right now I'm just talking to a camera. I'm just talking into a camera right now, and later it's gonna be edited and it's gonna be thrown up on YouTube, and lots of people are gonna watch the video. That's crazy. It's hard to imagine, because I'm just sitting here in my office talking into a camera. And so I need to remember that the work I do has purpose, that this matters to some people. Right? That people rely on my videos every day as a part of their routine. And that helps make me soar. So I wake up just like everybody else. I'm tired. I don't know what time it is. Sometimes, even this morning, I woke up, I didn't even know what day it was. Is it the weekend? I had no idea. Right? You wake up, I'm not coming out of the day saying, yeah, oh my gosh, let's go. Right? That's not how anybody wakes up. Nobody. That's not how Grant Cardone wakes up, Evan Carmichael, Tony Robbins, nobody. That's not how we wake up. The difference is the habits that you set on a daily basis to demand that success, to demand that you show up. And so what is the thing that helps make you soar? Maybe it's remembering the impact you want to have. Maybe it's sharing a message to YouTube, to Instagram, to LinkedIn. Maybe it's doing an act of service. Maybe it's meditation. Maybe it's reading. Maybe it's watching these videos. What is it that makes you feel like you want to soar? And then don't randomly hope that it happens. Demand that it's part of your morning routine. Because if you woke up and did the thing to make you soar, to make you feel bold, confident, unstoppable, and you did that every day for the next year, your life will be dramatically different. You will not recognize the person who you used to be. The challenge is you're not consistent in soaring. And so I need you to make that part of your morning routine. And then number 3 is understand what is your Michael Jordan talent? What could you be the greatest in the world at? You could be the greatest of all time at something. You are. But what is that thing? Most people are living way below their potential because they settled. You settled too early. You settled because you were pressured. You settled because you were afraid. You settled because you ran out of time, or at least you felt you did. That's not an acceptable answer anymore. You could be the greatest in the world at something. And if you're procrastinating on something, it's either because you're afraid of the thing, in which case you need to go and do it because you do scary, you do afraid, right? Back to tip number 1. Or 2, you just don't like it. You procrastinate because you don't like it. And if you continue to do work that you don't like, you're never going to be the best because you're going up against people who love it, right? If you're going up to play basketball against Michael Jordan, you better love the game as much as he does or you're going to lose. If it's just a strategy for you, you're going to lose. And so look at the thing that's in front of you. Look at the thing that you are not showing up for. It's for one of those 3 reasons. Either you're afraid to do it and therefore you must do it. Or 2, you don't have consistent habits, in which case you need to put the thing that makes you soar into your morning routine. Or 3, you just don't actually want to do it. And stop forcing yourself to do it. Go off and find the thing that you have Michael Jordan level talent at.
Rule number 6 is lose the scarcity mindset.
You are staying small because you're afraid. You're afraid of the worst case scenario coming true, losing, having no money, and being embarrassed. But you know you're capable of more. You know the way that you're going about doing things right now is nothing compared to what you're capable of. Unless you lose that scarcity mindset, you're always going to stay small, knowing that you are capable of more. Today, I'm going to show you how. So one of the easiest ways to get out of your scarcity mindset is to go from idea to action. As soon as you get an idea, you do something about it. And sometimes often that idea is going to be too big, too scary, too crazy. You can't do it. Who are you to do this? You don't have the money, resources, time, connections, energy, right? All of that, all of the excuses that come into your head. I like to teach myself that as soon as I get an idea, I go do something. It may not work, but you have genius ideas, trust them, go do something. So this is great. This is a grant video because when I did my tour in 2019, that's January to April, we hit 23 different cities over 90 days. And at the beginning, I was trying to find different sponsors that would help out with travel, accommodations, because it was me, Nina, my film guy, Danny, and all of our gear. It was mostly Danny's gear. Lighting, and we had speakers and camera gear and all of this stuff. And we ended up renting a Suburban and driving across America. But before doing that, I emailed Grant and I said, hey Grant, can I use your plane for 90 days for my tour? And to his credit, the email that he wrote back was, what's the upside? Not, no, not forget about it, not, do you know how much it costs, and just jet fuel and you know, my pilot, and that I can't use my plane for 3 months. He said, what's the upside? I said, well, listen, I'm gonna let everybody in my audience know about you. And listen, we didn't get a deal, we didn't make it happen. But it's that idea of going from idea to action, right? And I still do a lot with Grant, right? Making this video, helping promote all the stuff that he's up to. We're looking at doing something together when I go to Miami next. And so that one exchange didn't ruin the relationship. And I'm happy to share it publicly. Maybe that's embarrassing for some people, right? But the idea of trusting your ideas. You get an idea, you go do something. It may be too big, it may be scary. You might have people say no. Even if the most likely answer is no, right? The most likely answer might be no. The most likely answer to me asking Grant that question is no, right? It's a no. But if I don't ask, it's a no 100%. Don't take the no away from somebody else. It might be 99.999% no, but there's still a little chance. Maybe there's a yes somewhere in there. Trust your ideas. Do something. I did and still continue to do. And that's how you escape scarcity mindset. That's how you escape playing small and actually go down and chase the life that you want to live. So let's get more specific. I'm going to give you a 3-step process that I think will help. Step number 1 is idea to action. So as soon as you get that idea, you don't judge it. You don't think about it. You don't say, why me? You just go and you do something. Find the smallest possible way to just get started, right? So you just trust that the idea came to you. I believe that ideas flow through you. You got that idea for a reason. Why are you thinking about it? Don't worry about why you're thinking about it. Just go do something about it. Find the smallest possible way to just go do something about it. You are a genius, therefore you come up with genius ideas. Not all of them work out. Maybe the timing was wrong, maybe the execution was wrong, but it's still a great idea because you came up with it. Therefore, it is a great idea and you have to go do something about it. So trust your ideas and go from idea to action. Step number 2 is what I call the 2% difference. Here's what happens. Most of the time when people come up with an idea, you default into planning mode. Planning, strategy, thinking, researching, and then you wake up the next day and you're back to square one. You're back to normal. Like the energy that you got, the boldness, the courage that you had is gone because you woke up the next day. So you've wasted your best time, your best momentum, that peak in energy on planning. Where what I want you to do is use that for action. So the 2% difference is instead of planning to get to 100%, which is what most of us will do, you come up with an idea and then plan how it's gonna happen 100% to finish line. You don't even know what the finish line is gonna be. Stop thinking you even know where it's gonna be. Instead of worrying about the 100%, focus on the first 2%. The first 2%. I have this idea. What can I do right now that will get me 2% of the way, right? You wanna make a YouTube video? Great, pull out your phone, start recording. That's 2%. You wanna remind yourself to breathe? This is one thing we have on our door. Every time I leave the door, every time I leave my condo, there's a sign that says breathe, right? Because I wanna remind myself to breathe. Practice my Wim Hof. Take 30 breaths in and out as I walk outside my condo every time. I put that there as a play bigger trigger for myself. But it's easy to think, well, if I'm gonna put a sign on my door, then I need it to be a certain size and I need to be at the perfect picture and I need it to be framed, and you make it bigger and then you don't do anything. That's the biggest problem. You just don't have momentum. You're not doing enough. And so step number 1, the 2% difference is I took out a sticky note and I just wrote breathe and I stuck it on my door. And it's a reminder every day to breathe. It doesn't mean that you can't go back and plan. It doesn't mean that you can't replace it with something nicer, bigger, better. Yes, of course, planning has its role, but not as a first step. Your first step is action. If your first step is planning, you're losing. If your first step is planning, that's why you're a perfectionist. That's why you don't have momentum happening against your ideas. Your first step, idea into the first 2%. And then step number 3 is tie your self-worth to the effort, not the result. This is where, again, so many entrepreneurs will fail, is because you tied your self-worth to the outcome of you accomplishing that thing. If you woke up and you only did things that you knew you were gonna win at, you're gonna play small for life. You're only doing things inside your comfort zone because you know you're gonna win at them, right? Or a very high degree chance you're gonna win. If that's all you ever take on, you play small for life. But if you're going outside your comfort zone, taking on new projects, growing as a human, learning, getting better, taking on new challenges that are bigger and beyond you, most days you're actually gonna wake up and fail because you're doing something new. But if you woke up every day and were proud of the effort you were putting in, you're proud of yourself for the effort, you're putting in your max effort, you're trying to make the best video you can, you're trying to make the best product or service you can, you're proud of yourself for the effort every single day, you're gonna create amazing things. Way beyond what you thought you're capable of, and way more than the person who just sits inside their bubble doing things that they know they're gonna win at. Tie your self-worth to the effort, not the results.
Rule number 7 is live life with intention.
You have to decide whether you are going to live an intentional or accidental life. Do you want to live an intentional or accidental life? Most of the world lives an accidental life. Most of the world, they wake up. What do you do when you first wake up? Check your phone, right? You set some alarm because you have to drive to some job that you hate. You check your phone and immediately there's all the crisis out there, all the expectations on you, all of the fears and judgments, all of the tasks that other people have set for you. You wake up like an accident and start living according to other people's demands for your time. You've already lost complete control of your day. What if, though, you swapped it and said, I want to live a more intentional life? What does it even look like? What does an intentional life look like? Well, I think it starts with a value. If you were to think about what is your most important core value, what would you come up with? Right? I've written 2 books on it. Your one word, Built to Serve, back there. You can figure it out. Mine is believe. I want to spread more belief in the world. What is your most important core value that you want to organize your day around? Instead of responding to other people's emergencies and losing complete control of your day? How about we organize with intention for how we want to show up today? Okay, well, that sounds great. So how do you do it? Well, I'm going to give you a couple tips that I use in my life that I think can be valuable for you. Number one, your morning routine is so critical. You've heard it over and over and over and over again from multiple people. Morning routine, morning routine, morning routine. What's the difference between a incredibly powerful morning routine that allows you to be supernatural and do the things that are beyond your comfort zone and are not by default in you yet, versus just a regular morning routine? The difference is the feeling. This is what most achievers miss. Okay? Most of the world doesn't have a morning routine with intent. Most of the world wakes up, falls into their day, responds to other people's emergencies, hate their life, hate their day, look back on the week that just happened. If you ever felt like you've put so much work into this week, right? You look at the end of the week, I worked so hard this week, but I got nothing done. You ever feel that way? Why? Because you're responding to other people's emergencies instead of actually doing the thing with intention that you should be doing. Okay? So the purpose for achievers of a morning routine is to get the feeling. The goal is not just to wake up and do your workout or do your meditation or do your prayer or whatever the thing is that's on your list, right? We're great as achievers at checking off the boxes, right? Check, 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 check. I did it. Awesome. Pat yourself on the back. You feel good for checking off the box. But if you do not feel bold, powerful, confident, courageous, belief in yourself to start your day and have a great day, then your morning routine is not working for you. More important than the task you get done is how you feel about yourself and ready to start the day. Some people, what they need to do is actually tweak their morning routine. And some people, what they need to do is, this is more likely the case, you actually have a good morning routine. You're just not doing it with the right focus and intention because you say that you're going to watch a video to get inspired. Great, perfect. But while you're watching a video, you're brushing your teeth and you're making your lunch and you're preparing your coffee and you're doing a million other things. So you can check the box to say, yep, watch the video, but you didn't get the feeling. And so it doesn't count. You need to feel bold, courageous, powerful, belief in self, ready to start the day and have an amazing one, or you have to go back and fix your morning routine or do it again. Starting your day to have intention, to do crazy, new, amazing, big things. It begins with a powerful morning routine, okay? Number two, look at your calendar and think about how do you want to show up today? The most important part of my morning routine, I'll wake up, I put on some music. Usually the first thing I play in the morning is oldies. Play some really, I don't know, the oldies just get me going in the morning. Any song that kind of gets you moving, gets you flowing, gets you out of your state, because we all wake up kind of tired, lines on your face, etc., right? But then what song can you put on? Because it's the fastest way to change your state. And then I look at my calendar. I look at my calendar and ask myself, how do I want to show up for today? Instead of having a bucket list, I think your bucket list is your excuse list. Things that one day you're going to get done. Forget that. I'm getting stuff done today. You're getting stuff done today. Your bucket list should be in your calendar. You're working towards actually achieving things. And so look at your calendar for today. Look at your calendar for the next week. How do you want to show up? So this morning, I wake up, I put on my oldies, and I'm looking at my calendar. And this is a Tuesday for today, and I'm filming YouTube videos on Tuesday. Tuesday is a day that I film my content. So how do I want to show up? I want to show up present. I want to show up and make some of the best videos I've ever made. I may not achieve that objective, but it's my goal. It's my intention to show up. It's less important like, did you get the result today, and more like, are you proud of the effort that you showed up today? I don't want to focus on team. I don't want to focus on emergencies in my email. I don't want to focus on social media. I don't want to delay and procrastinate. I want to get content out for you guys. Believe Nation, let's go. I want to show up even though I'm just standing on my trampoline alone by myself in my office. I want this message to reach millions of people. That's the intention. That's when I wake up, I got my oldies playing, and then I'm looking at my calendar and say, this is how I want to show up. Most days, I don't remember what day it is when I wake up. I had no idea that today was a Tuesday when I woke up. I put on my oldies, I look at the intention, ready to go. That does not have to take a long time. This doesn't have to be a 2-hour morning routine. you could be great at it. You're just not going through the actual exercise to ask yourself, how do I want to show up today? So look at your calendar. It's a good exercise. Think of what's coming up in your calendar today, what's coming up for the rest of the day before you go to sleep. How do you want to show up? How do you want to show up in your business or at your work? How do you want to show up for the people that you work with? How do you want to show up for your family? How do you want to show up? Because when you set that morning routine, right? Step one, create a powerful morning routine that makes you feel bold, confident, powerful, alive, belief in self. And two, as a part of that, having the intention for how you want to show up. Imagine if every day for the next year, you did just those two things. Powerful morning routine that makes you feel bold, powerful, courageous, right? And two, you set an intention every morning of how you want to live today. Whether you achieve it perfectly or not, but you did that every morning. Imagine how much different your life is 1 year from today. Just by doing those two things. It's transformative. And then step number 3 is in between the activities during the day, remember your intention. I have a background on my cell phone. It says, remember your intention. So anytime I look at my cell phone, it's remember my intention. Remember your intention. Remember your intention. What was my intention this morning? Belief. I want to spread more. I want to make amazing YouTube content, amazing videos for you guys, Believe Nation. Remember the intention, because no matter what happened in the morning, you might forget it. Come noon, come 2 o'clock, come 4 o'clock, come 6 o'clock. You need the reminder of your intention. So I have it on my cell phone background. The other thing that I do is I will book things in 25 or 55-minute increments. So if I'm filming blocks of content, if I'm doing meetings with people, if I'm doing training events or seminars, there's always a 5-minute break from when I stop one activity to when I start the next activity. And one reason for that is just to make sure if there's any technical issues or one thing runs late or et cetera, I have a little bit of a buffer. But the more important issue is that it allows me that little window to reset the intention for the next thing. So especially if you're switching tasks, you're coming home from work and you're going home and you're gonna see your spouse, you're gonna see your kids, or you're switching from one meeting to a next, you're switching from a meeting to making a video, or switching from video to writing your book. You're switching between tasks. Give yourself a little 5-minute window to just remember the intention again. It totally changes how you show up as a human. If you are going from work to home, even if that's my studio here is in my home, right? Even if I'm going from here to outside the door, if I give myself a 5-minute break in between activities, from stopping filming to then going and hanging out with my wife, and I ask myself, remember your intention. What was your intention for today? Okay, belief. How do I bring that to Nina? How do I bring that to my relationship? Even though I've just made all these videos and my head's going a mile a minute and I'm so excited for all the content that we're producing and making and launching, amazing. How do I now show up for my relationship? Just that 5 minutes, it doesn't even have to take 5 minutes, but just asking the question resets the priorities. Takes you off of living on autopilot and living in intention. It changes how I show up to when I'm gonna go out and hang out with Nina. So do those things. Your life will dramatically change. Powerful morning routine. Set your intention every morning and then have little breaks to remind yourself of what that intention was throughout the day. Whether it's your cell phone background, whether it's 5-minute breaks in between switching tasks. If you can decide that you want to stop living an accidental life, stop living a reactionary life based off of other people's priorities for your time, controlling your agenda, put up a little bit of defenses and walls to say, no, this is my time, this is my life, I'm going to start living it with intention. You do that, everything changes, I promise you.
Rule number 8 is push yourself.
Everything in your life changes when you learn to tie your self-worth to your effort instead of the results. Most people tie their self-worth to the results, to winning. You only feel good about yourself when you win. If that's how you think, then you're screwed. Because that person only takes on projects that you know you have a pretty high chance of winning at. And therefore you play small for life. The key is to tie your self-worth to the effort, to trying. And if you do that well, you'll win beyond your wildest imaginations. So let's use me as an example. Look at this video right here, this video. 2 minutes before getting on and making this video, I'm nervous. I'm scared. I don't want to do it. I'm trying to find a reason why I don't have to do this video. Now why? I've done 6,000 of these videos. Do I not love it anymore? No, that's not it. I love doing it. So why am I afraid? Who cares? I've done 6,000. The answer is because I don't want to make it the same way that I've done the past 6,000. I want to push harder. I want to push and do something new. If I was just doing what I've already done, then it'd be easy. Right? If you're doing the same thing over and over and over again, it becomes easy, but then you get bored. You start to hate your life. You start realizing that everything is just a photocopy over and over and over and over and over again. And so, how do I push through? I put this pressure on myself to say this video right now has to be the best video that I've ever made. That's my intention going in to every time I'm filming. Most days I don't accomplish it. When you're trying something new and scary and bigger and bolder, most of the time you won't get it. You fail a lot. But I tie my self-worth, my respect to the effort I'm trying. And every now and then you'll make a bit of a breakthrough. You get a bit of a win. And then those accumulate. And then you get another one, and another win, and another win. And so the answer isn't have a big goal and then find a reason why you can't do it. The answer isn't dream big and then convince yourself of some logical excuse for why you're not going to take action. The answer is to push through. The answer is you're scared and you're going to do it anyway. The answer for me is I'm going to make another video. I'm going to try and push myself harder. And I think that's what achievers do, because achievers are failing more than you. Because most days I get up and fail. Most days I'm just failing. It's another failure, another failure, another failure. But the more you fail, the more you're eventually going to win. I'm going to get massive results. Because you tie your self-worth to your ability to get up and try again, and try again, and try again, and pat yourself on the back for the effort you're putting in, not just when you're winning. So how do you do it? I'm going to give you a 3-step process that I think will help. Step number 1 is what I call the pillow test. This is my actual pillow that when I'm in Toronto, I sleep on every single night. And the pillow test is make yourself proud before you hit your head on the pillow, right? Before you go to sleep tonight, before your head hits your pillow, you ask yourself, am I proud of my effort today? Not how much did I win? Not did I get the results I was looking for? Not did I get my 1 million views or close that big sale? Are you proud of your effort? Are you proud of your effort? Can you put your head on your pillow tonight and say, man, I am proud of the effort that I put in? That's the test. That's the test for tonight. That's your test for tomorrow night, and the night after that, and the night after that, and the night after that. And the more that you get a yes, to say, yeah, heck yeah, I'm proud of my effort. You do that, you watch your business explode. Step number 2 is expect to suck at the start. Anytime you're trying something new, expect to suck. Don't expect to just try something new and it's amazing. This is where a lot of people fall down. You've had some success, you're at a certain level, you're going to try something new. Before you go up, you're probably going to go down. That's part of the experimentation process. It doesn't mean you suck as a human. It just means that you don't have the skill sets, the talents yet. You're trying something new. I haven't brought props in on my videos before. That was a new test. I expect it to suck. Maybe on an off chance it works. Amazing, I learned from it. But when you're trying something, it's brand new, you don't have the confidence in it yet, you're still figuring out the path, expect to suck. When you put so much of your worth into expecting to be great the first time out, here's what happens. You try one thing, you record one video, you watch it back, say, man, that sucked, and then you never make a video again. Meanwhile, if you just kept doing it, you would eventually be awesome. You would eventually crush it. Go back and watch my first videos. Go back to my main channel. Go back to the beginning, see where I started. I've kept them all up so you can see the journey, the progress of how much I sucked at the very beginning. It took me 350 videos until I wasn't embarrassed by my content. I was so embarrassed I couldn't watch it back. 350 videos, but I kept going. The problem is people are quitting on things too soon. You quit on something too soon because you're not getting immediate results. Expect to suck. It doesn't mean that you suck as a human. It just means you don't have the skills yet. And how do you get the skills? By practicing. And number 3 is ask yourself, what would the most bold version of you do? I got this question when I was talking to my video guy, Danny, who came to me with a really important
personal problem in his life at the time. And I said, what would the most bold version of you do? It just came out. Man, I love that. And anytime he doesn't know what to do, he asks himself that question: what would the most bold version of me do? It's a great question because it allows you to push through a lot of your fears, a lot of your insecurities, to force yourself to be bold. And you want to be bold. You're meant to be bold. You're meant to create amazing, wonderful things. You want that big vision of yours to come true. You are bold. You are courageous. But we don't live in that land very often. And so if you ask that question, what would the most bold version of you do today? What it does is wash away a lot of those fears and insecurities and gives you the answer that you're actually looking for.
Rule number 9 is fix your relationships. You are the product of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. You've heard that before, you know it's important, and the reason why it's so true is because of a concept in persuasion in that whoever is more confident wins. Whoever is more confident in their opinion on something, in their habits on something, is the one who wins and persuades and influences other people to join them, even without having to say anything. Just somebody being so confident in their own negativity, in their own world, and their own bad habits, without even telling you anything, you will naturally pick up on that thing and dive down that same negative rabbit hole with them. And that's the fight. Because if you are around people who are negative, who have the bad habits that you don't want to have anymore, it's not that it's impossible, but you're making it a lot more challenging on yourself to be able to pull yourself out of the hole. You are the result of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So let's say you want to work out. You want to work out, you want to be healthy. This is the year, you want to lose weight, you want to be in the best shape of your life. Amazing, right? But it's a new habit, and this is the problem. At the very beginning of a new habit, if we go back to the concept of persuasion, you don't have a lot of persuasion over yourself yet. You don't have a lot of influence over yourself yet on this habit because it's so new. So it's easy to get pulled in a million different directions. You're looking for any possible reason why not to do it. And if you have a goal to go to the gym every day, or you have a goal to eat healthy today, and then you see your friends around you just diving in on Big Macs and lying on the couch and complaining and being negative, you can fight that. But at some point, that fight starts to wear down on you, and your resolve isn't strong enough yet because it's too new a habit. And so what's likely to happen is you're going to go join them because they are more confident in their negative approach than you are in the positive approach. They have such a history with the bad habit that then they influence you to go back down that negative path. I remember hanging out with a very popular YouTuber, and he was asking, well, how do I grow even to the next step? And I love how consistent you are. He's talking about my channel, how consistent I was. And when I was with him over dinner, one of the things that I struggled with is when I travel, I usually let my diet go. You know, I'm traveling, having fun. I don't have my usual routine. And so, not that I would just smash Doritos down my face, but I would just eat whatever. And he was at a restaurant with me, and he was eating really clean. He had a fish and salad and no dressing and just really, really clean. And he was waking up the next day, he was going to go for a run. Some of those habits are what I do here when I'm at home, but I don't do it when I travel. And so here he was admiring how consistent I was on making videos and having however many thousand of videos now on the channel. And I was admiring how consistent he was in his eating healthy and his working out. Now, what would happen if we started to hang out more? If we started to hang out more and we look at those two things, the consistency on making videos and the staying healthy. On the consistency of making videos, it's just part of me now. I'm so confident in my making videos and that I have to get it done that even if he was lying on the couch all day, not that he would, but even if he was, he wouldn't negatively influence me. So I would suck him to making more videos. He would be making more videos as a result of hanging out with me. It would just naturally happen without me even saying anything to him. Because here's what would happen. He might be on the couch, he might be getting distracted, might be doing something else. I say, okay, man, I gotta go make videos. And by me going off and making videos, it will motivate him to go make more videos. I don't have to say anything. Your actions speak way louder than your words. Don't tell somebody to go do something. You want to influence and persuade them? Go do the thing. And they'll see you doing it. Now it's in their environment and it's going to suck them in. So if we hung out together, he would be more consistent on the content. On the other hand, if we hung out together consistently, I would get healthier with my travel diet. If I traveled every time with him, then we would likely eat at more healthy restaurants. He would likely be working out every morning. I would likely join him on some of those. He would just pull me towards being a healthier traveler compared to what I am now, because he is so confident in that habit that he's trying to build. And so where we struggle as entrepreneurs is we're trying to build these new habits. We're trying to pull ourselves up to a better, brighter future, better place, more proud of ourselves, but we're still stuck with the people around us who are in a negative environment, who want to stay stuck, who just complain about where they are instead of actually trying to build something better for themselves. So if that remains your friend circle in the next 5 years, it's going to be really, really challenging for you to get to the place where you want to be. Okay, well, that's great, Evan. How do I change it? I mean, I don't want to just leave my friends. I don't even know where to get new friends. How do I start this process? There are 3 big strategies I want to give you that I think will really, really, really help. First off, you don't have to go off and tell all your friends, hey, you guys suck. I'm better than you. I don't want to hang out with you anymore, right? So step 1 is just do an audit. Just do an audit of your friends. Just do an audit of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. Just think about it. In the past 2 months, who have you spent the most time with? And then how many of them make you feel better about yourself, where you leave them feeling more bold, more confident, more excited for your life, more ready to go and take on the big challenges that are ahead of you? And how many of them make you feel worse? How many of them you have to go home and have a nap? Or how many of them you just feel drained as a result of talking to them? Not that they're bad people, they're just in a lot of pain, right? Again, I don't think that there are toxic people. I just think that they're in a lot of pain, and hurt people, right? So if you're not strong enough yet to influence them, they're going to suck you down. So step 1 is to do an audit of your friends. Step 2 is to limit access to the people who are making you feel worse about yourself. Again, it doesn't mean you have to go and tell them that they suck. Just stop spending time together. As you spend less time together, you'll find that the relationship just kind of fizzles away. You don't have to have some big conversation. Just cut off access, spend less time, go out once a month instead of once a week, call them less frequently, stop doing things together. You'll just notice that as you spend less time together, you stop getting influenced so negatively. People are so afraid of breaking off a friendship because they think you have to have this really tough conversation. You don't. You just have to spend less time with them. Just look at your calendar, see how often you usually spend, and your goal for next month is to spend half the amount of time or a quarter of the amount of time that you spent with them as last month. That's it. That's step 2. It doesn't have to be some big break, doesn't have to be crazy scary, doesn't have to be overwhelming and massively painful. Step 3 is going to be to fill the void. So if you stop spending time with people, 2 things happen. 1, you get this void. It's like, well, who do I spend time with now? I have this extra time in my calendar. I've got these blocks. And the other thing is you start to feel lonely. You know, if you don't have that friend circle around you anymore, it's easy to feel lonely, which is maybe even worse than spending time with them. At least you have some kind of connection. We're settling for just okay relationships because we crave the connection, because you just want to have somebody around you, because it's better to be with that person than it is to be alone. And that's the biggest fear, is that you're just going to end up alone, that you'll never find anybody, even in romantic relationships, but also in your friendships, because it can be harder as you get older to join friend circles, to make new friends. It's why a lot of people are still stuck with the same friends they had in high school and university, because they never actually went to go out and search for new friends, because it's so afraid that you're going to be stuck alone. So in that vacuum, in that void, in that hole in your calendar now, what are you going to do? Well, the goal is to now meet new people. And you don't have to treat it like it's dating, it's a relationship. You just go off to the events and the people that you feel like you might have a connection to. So I'm introverted, I'm shy, I am not a people person, I hate networking events, I hate small talk. And so how I would do it, if you're extroverted, it's super easy. Just go and go to the events and hang out and say hi, I'm Evan, good to meet you. I never go up to anybody and say, hi, I'm Evan, it's great to meet you. What do you do? I never do that. So the easy way to do it is think about the clubs, the activities, and the events that are really interesting for you, that it's a lot more natural for you to have a conversation about. So if there was just a business networking meeting, I would hate that. I hate that kind of stuff where you have to explain what it is that you do and they don't really care or interested in. But finding common hobbies. So for me, I would pick entrepreneurship. I would pick League of Legends. I would pick salsa dancing, and starting into Minecraft. So maybe some Minecraft. I would pick something in those 4 areas where I could easily connect with people, that it doesn't feel like a chore to talk about because I love that topic. As a quick example, I was on an airplane and I was flying to Brendan Burchard's event in Puerto Rico. And so I was one of 2 external speakers coming in to speak at the event. And this is his high-level mastermind. These are people who are paying $30,000 to $50,000 to be in that room. And I'm flying down there, and I'm in business class. There's only one person next to me, and he's trying to strike up a conversation, and I just don't like it. He's like, "So, where are you going?" Like, "Well, we're going to Puerto Rico." Like, where are you coming from? I'm from Toronto, and he was coming up from Vancouver. And I hate the small talk, right? I hate the small talk. And so I think he kind of noticed after a couple tries that I wasn't really interested in talking to him. I didn't mean to be rude. It doesn't fulfill me. I'd rather just be by myself and alone and focus on what I need to talk about. And so we're flying down there, and I don't really know why he's going or what he's going for, what his business is in Puerto Rico, if he's speaking, if he's got an event, what. So we don't really talk for the rest of the way. Not anything rude, just we're in our own world. I get there and get in my my taxi or Uber or whatever and drive to the hotel where we're staying. And as I'm checking in, guess who shows up right behind me? Right next to me on the counter. The same guy that I spent all this time now just sitting next to, not talking to on the airplane. And he said, "Hey, you're here too." It's like, and as soon as I knew that he was here for Brendan Burchard's event, it's like, "Yeah, man. Are you here too? Oh my God, what's your business?" As soon as I found out that he was an entrepreneur, it's way easier to have a connection. And so we spent a little more time there chatting, spent a couple moments over the course of the conference as well. But it's so much easier to make connections when you have a joint interest, right? If I know you're an entrepreneur, or I know you care about League of Legends or Minecraft or salsa dancing, if I know any of those things, we are instantly going to be friends and have something to talk about. But if you're just a normal human who maybe I don't know anything about, then it's a lot more difficult. So because you have this vacuum and you don't know who to connect with and you want to feel that connection and belonging with a group, don't let that hole and that pain drag you back to the circle that you know doesn't ultimately support you, and look for the events that are exciting for you to go to, for the clubs, for the activities that you are genuinely like, "Ooh, that'd be so cool to be able to go there." And you'll end up meeting like-minded people, and that becomes your new friend circle. And when that happens, when you hold on to good people like that, you actually stop even caring that some of the people, have kind of drifted or you've let go of at some point. Instead of spending once a month with them now, maybe it's once a year, just catching up. Or maybe you don't talk again, not again because you've had some conversation and they hate you. You've just grown apart. And the less time you spend with somebody, the more you're going to grow apart. You are the product of the 5 people that you hang out with the most. You've heard it before. You'll hear it again. When is the time to actually take the action? Do the audit of your friend circle. Do they make you feel better about yourself or worse about yourself? Stop spending as much time with the people that make you feel worse about yourself, and then fill the void, fill the vacuum with people who lift you up by going to events and clubs and activities that you genuinely care about. It's not just a strategy to make connections, but you love being there. You will meet some amazing like-minded people.
And rule number 10, the last one before some very special bonus clips, is control your addictions.
You are where you are because of you. Because of the choices you've made, because of the mindset that you have, because of the lack of accountability, you are where you are because of you. And that is a very tough message to hear, but it's also a very liberating and freeing message to hear, because it's so comfortable and so easy to blame other people. We would love to blame other people. It's so easy to say, well, I'm here because of my parents. Or I'm here because of the country that I was born in, or I'm stuck here because of the president and the policies that the president put into place. I'm here because of XYZ, whatever story happened to you, right? It's so much easier to stay stuck in blaming other people because it means we don't have to do anything. Because it means that it's not your responsibility to fix it. Like it makes sense. This is why you're stuck, right? Like, oh, well, this is why if I had this set up for me, then I of course, it'd be more successful. You know, if my parents were like this, then of course it'd be more successful. It takes the accountability and the responsibility off of your shoulders. And that's a very comforting message, but it keeps you stuck. It keeps you staying exactly where you are. It keeps you in slow growth or no growth mode. Where when you can flip it to, I'm here because of me. And I will end up in a different spot because of me. That where I start right now is not where I'm going to finish. That where I am right now is not going to be where I end up because of the actions that I'm going to take. One important thought that I want to get across in this video is there is a very big difference between taking accountability and placing blame. What we want to do is blame. We want to blame others, and we don't want to blame ourselves. I'm not asking you to blame yourself. Blaming doesn't do anything. Blaming is still negative thinking. Blaming is still being stuck in the past. You're sitting there even blaming yourself. You're stuck in the past. Oh, I should have done this. How many times have you done that? How many times have you done that? I should have done this. I should have been more proactive. I should have taken that chance when I had the opportunity. I should have asked that question. I should have started that business 3 years ago. I should have, right? You're blaming yourself. That's not what this is. Taking accountability is not blaming yourself for all your past mistakes. Because if you're stuck in blaming others or blaming yourself, you stay stuck still too. You're in a really negative mindset and you stay stuck and don't do anything. That's not what this is. What this is saying, I don't want to stay stuck here. And the difference is going to be me taking accountability for my life. So how do we start to get there? Let me share a couple pointers, okay? Number one, find some heroes. Find some heroes. Chances are, whoever you look up to, whoever your hero is, whether it's Oprah Winfrey, Kevin O'Leary, Richard Branson, Steve Jobs, whoever your hero is, your hero probably started with less than what you have right now. Less money, less support, less freedom, less opportunities. They started with less than what you have right now. So how did they break free? Like, how did they get out of the situation that they were in, the bigger hole that they were in compared to the hole that you're in? How did they get out? Because that not only gives you strategy, but also gives you the hope and motivation to recognize, well, if this person could do it from a worse situation to what I'm in right now, the difference is they didn't stay stuck in the blame game. They took responsibility and they got out. You can too. Surround yourself with heroes, whether that's watching YouTube videos, whether that's reading books, listening to podcasts, but be around your heroes because they have a different mindset. Most people do not take responsibility or accountability. They don't. We don't want to because it's the harder path. We want to take the easy way out. So the people you're listening to, the people who are around you, the people who are in your life right now, likely are not the ones saying, I'm responsible for my life and I'm going to go fix it. Right? People around you are doing the opposite. They say, no, it's this person's fault. So we have to start to shift that. You have to be around your heroes more. So who are the people you look up to, you respect, you love the most, that have the mindset that you want to have, the belief that you want to have, the confidence that you want to have? Who are those people? And then surround yourself with them more. Subscribe to more YouTube channels, the right YouTube channels. Follow more people on Instagram, the right people. Like, do a real audit of the people that you're hanging out with, even virtually, right? Gary Vee or Elon Musk might not come and mentor you personally, but you can learn a lot from them, from their content, from their interviews, from their books, from their podcasts, from their shows. You can learn a lot from them if you choose to surround yourself with them. So do an audit of who you follow on Instagram, of who you follow on YouTube. Do an audit and see how many of these people make you feel better about yourself, give you hope, ambition, courage, that when you watch their stuff, you consume their stuff, you're around it, you leave feeling better. If you're scrolling through Instagram and you close it and you feel worse about yourself, it's your responsibility to fix that, because there's lots of people you could follow who give you motivation, inspiration, hope, courage, momentum, action. YouTube as well. You could dive down and watch 8 hours of YouTube and then feel terrible about yourself because you just got distracted, were entertaining yourself, you were consumed by negative content. You can switch that, unsubscribe from all those people and start to follow more channels. That's why I make so much content. Holy cow, how much content do I make every day? I don't know. Across all the channels, there's so much content, but you know what? It's always positive. It's always spreading belief. It's always filled with hope. You'll never see videos on my channel talking about how terrible somebody is, or how we should cancel this person, or how bad the world is, right? And whether you love my content, great, or somebody else is awesome, but most important is the feeling you have about yourself. Because when you're filled with hope, confidence, courage, your life totally changes. So step number 1 is you have to be around your heroes. Step number 2 to starting to take responsibility is, what's the action that you can do today? You know, what can you do today to start building some momentum? If you accept that, hey, it's not my fault where I'm at, but it's my responsibility to fix it, right? It's not your fault, it's not blame, but it's your responsibility to change it for yourself and for others. That you can change it, that you could be the one, you could be the difference maker, where this all starts to change, right? What is that immediate momentum that you need to take? Do you need to launch your own YouTube channel? Do you need to start writing your book? Do you need to create your program? Do you need to get on stage and speak? Do you need to launch that service or product? Do you need to do that collaboration? Like what's the next step? Because the biggest thing that's missing for most people is just momentum. You've got the ideas and the heart and the drive and the love and the care and the desire to do good, and you want to serve and you want to make money and you want to build a bit. You want all these things, great, but what's the momentum that's happening? What's the next step to get you out of the hole? And then number 3 is just scheduling that in. Because no matter how bold and confident and ambitious you feel right now, this is a process that takes time. And you can do a lot in one day, but we tend to overestimate what we can do in a day and underestimate what we can do, you know, in a year, or in 2 years, or in 5 years. So the difference is going to be the actual momentum that we start taking consistently. So you have one great day today, amazing. What's happening tomorrow? What's happening the next day? And it's creating a calendar that you can stay consistent on. You don't have to stay stuck. Where you are in 1 year can be a totally different spot than where you are right now. The difference is not beating yourself up, not blaming yourself for the people around you, not saying how much people screwed you over and just keep on thinking about the negative things that happened to you growing up. And instead saying, you know what? It's my responsibility to fix this. I'm taking accountability for my life, and I refuse to be stuck in the same spot 1 year from today.
80% of our inner dialogue is negative, and 95% of those thoughts are the same thoughts that we had yesterday. That's what Beth Handel taught me. She's Gary Vee's life coach. We had an awesome session together, and it really hit home. Imagine that 80% of the thoughts that you've got, 80% are negative. We are beating ourselves up. We are telling ourselves that we can't do things. It's not even our friends and family, the people around us telling us that we suck. It's us, it's ourselves. We tell ourselves we're not good enough, we can't do this, we're not strong enough, smart enough, we're from the wrong country, we look the wrong way, you know, we're too young, we're too old, whatever it is, 80% of our thoughts are negative. And then 95% of those negative thoughts are the exact same negative thoughts that we had yesterday. It's no wonder why we stay small. It's no wonder why we stay stuck, because we've created this reinforcing loop of negativity. This is why I think the world's biggest problem is lack of belief. You know, I'm on a mission every day, wake up, try to make content, try to spread the message, to help people believe in themselves more. I think lack of belief is the single biggest problem in the world. And I also believe that everybody has Michael Jordan level genius at something. Like, you are the greatest. You're the greatest in the world at something. And it's not what you went to school for, and it's not what your parents did for a living, probably. It's something completely different. And you have to have the courage to go off and chase it and find it and do it, because the woman who solves cancer should have already solved it by now, but she never believed in herself enough to go to medical school. And now she's a manager in an accounting firm, and she doesn't like her life, right? I mean, this is where most of us are stuck. Most people wake up and they drive to a job that we don't like. Most people are stuck and barely hanging on,
and do not like their life and feel like they're not contributing, they're not making any kind of difference, they're not doing anything meaningful or impactful at all in the world. That's most people. Like, imagine waking up and that's your daily reality. That may be you, or that may have been who you were and you're still discovering and trying to improve and get better. But if 80% of those thoughts that come through your head, conscious or unconscious, are negative, I think a lot of conscious thoughts are negative too. Not just the subconscious, the conscious thoughts are negative. You telling yourself that you can't do something and you're not good enough. And then 95% are the same as yesterday, that we've just created this loop, this negative thinking loop. So how do we break it? How do we break free? How do we solve that problem? Well, that's the $1 billion question, and that's what I wake up every day trying to fix. And I can give you a couple things that I've worked on and I've found helpful and hopefully helps move the needle. They don't have all the answers, but some of these might help. The first one is to change your environment. The environment makes such a huge difference for who you are and your daily habits and what you believe about yourself. And the environment is not just the people who are around you, although that definitely helps. You know, if you've got negative friends or family around you, you want to eliminate them completely or spend a lot less time with them, because it's really, really, really hard to have a beautiful plant grow when it's just, toxic waste being poured on top of them. Doable, but really, really, really difficult. And so changing that can really help. And one of the best ways I found to do it is content. It's content. It's why I make so much content for these channels, that hopefully you wake up today and there's a piece of content there waiting for you, whether it's me or showcasing somebody else. Across all my channels, we're making multiple pieces of content every single day to try to hit it in the right way. Maybe today's message with the right voice is the one that makes a difference for you. And if you can shift the amount of entertainment you're doing, or just shutting off the world, some of the content that you consume just helps you shut off the world and escape, versus educational content that helps you learn, improve, get better, and solve the problem, right? Entertainment is let's forget about the problem and just laugh at something else. Education is let's learn to actually fix the problem that is happening in our life, right? I want to lean in on that a lot more. It doesn't mean that entertainment doesn't exist in your life. It's not only education, but if you can shift the needle towards education, to be around the people who inspire you, even if you've never met them, it can really move the needle for your inner dialogue and your self-confidence. So the thing that saved me in my first business in doing this was modeling Bill Gates from Microsoft. When I quit on my business partner, I struggled. I didn't know, I felt worthless. Nothing was working. I was working every day and just no results. And in looking at Bill Gates' story, that changed my life. It saved my business. It allowed me to keep going, because now I had a little bit of hope that, if Bill Gates could do it, maybe I could too. And the more you surround yourself with those people, the more you'll feel like you can do it too. So do an audit. How many people in your life, the actual humans that you know, and also just the people that you subscribe to, that you follow, how many of them make you feel better about yourself? And for too many people, it's not enough. It's look at who you follow on YouTube, look at who you subscribe to, look at who you're connecting with on Instagram. If you're loading your phone and you're going through Instagram, or you're watching YouTube videos, how many times have you gone through it and all of a sudden an hour has gone by and you were mindlessly watching videos, or even worse, made you feel worse about yourself? You ever felt that? You watch a video and then you feel worse about yourself afterwards, or you're following somebody and it makes you feel worse about yourself? You have a choice to unfollow those people. This is not Instagram's fault or YouTube's fault. You can take accountability here. You have a choice to unfollow those people, and then a choice to follow the people who make you feel better about yourself. That's my aim with all these videos. I want to leave you with strategies, but also more belief in yourself at the end of every video. And if I do that, awesome. You want more belief in your life? Come back. Another shot of espresso tomorrow morning. We're here. And if I don't do that, cool. Thank you for giving it a shot. And don't quit on that. Go find somebody else who gives you the motivation, inspiration that you need. And so you can make a conscious choice, because it's so easy to stay stuck. It's so easy to stay small. It's so easy to be the one that pours into other people and not have anybody pour into us. And you need to make a conscious choice to raise your environment, to change your environment. And it doesn't mean you have to go move to a different country or move to a fancier house or anything else. You start by just changing who you associate with, even at a mass scale, right? I've learned a lot from Steve Jobs. I've been inspired by Oprah Winfrey. My favorite entrepreneur of all time is AP Giannini, who started Bank of America. These are people who I've never met.
you know, and in the case of Jobs and Giannini, I never, you know, will meet because they've passed. But I've been inspired by them, and they've made me better, and they've taught me, and I've learned from them, and they've inspired me, and I get courage from them because I've consumed their content. And you can do that too. It's just being intentional about it, so that when you raise your environment, you raise your life. The second thing is try not to do it alone. It's really hard to go after a goal, to change your mindset, to accomplish big things when you're doing it all by yourself. You know, this is why a lot of people quit, because you might have one amazing day, or you watch the right video, you have the right experience, and it's like, "Damn, I want it. This is the life I want." You ever had that, right? Like, this is the life that I want. This is who I want to be. This is where I could go. You have a glimpse of a potential future that you could be. It's like, I want that. And you actually feel in your heart that you can be that. You can accomplish that, right? Has that happened to you? And then what happens? The next day you wake up and it's kind of gone. And then the next day it's completely gone. And then you're back to your old life and the limiting beliefs and the habits. And you know, you gain back the 20 pounds and like, how did I end up back here? I thought I fixed this, right? Has that ever happened to you? A lot of it is because you're doing it alone. And this took me a long time to figure out. As an introverted person, as a shy person, as somebody who doesn't like asking for help, as someone who's afraid of disappointing people, being a part of a community it just sounds super scary to me. We just did our 7-day challenge for Built to Serve, and a bunch of people joined Movement Makers. We had almost 100 people join Movement Makers at the end of it. And it's people who want to be thought leaders and want to be speakers and authors and coaches and course creators and membership creators and all of this stuff. It's a big impact to spread your message. And I was giving people a lot of not just encouragement, but respect. Like the people who ended up joining, I just had incredible respect for, because I wouldn't have done it. If I go back to 19-year-old Evan, when I started my first business, I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have had the courage to do it. I wouldn't have joined the group. We had people sharing their videos, like, tell us about your who, your why, your how. Is this methodology from the book, but make a video, you know, sharing your purpose and your biggest pain of all time, and some of these, you know, kind of deep things that you have to record and share. And I mean, it was optional. Not everybody did it, but in doing that, for a lot of people, it was their first video that they've ever done. For a lot of people, it was the first time they've even shared their story to anybody. They were sharing things in the group that they hadn't told their spouse, you know, or their family, or their best friend. And now they're making a video in their car sharing their story. And you see them become liberated. You see them start super scared and afraid and unsure and fixing their hair and, you know, apologizing for the lighting not being good, and then being in the car and not knowing what they're doing, to then just seeing the transformation of somebody going through the cocoon, you know, being a caterpillar and turning into a butterfly and sharing their story for the first time. And I was in awe, because I couldn't imagine me doing that at 19 when I started my first business. I was too afraid to join a community. I was too afraid of being judged. I was too afraid of being not good enough. And that kept me small. It kept my growth really slow. Fortunately, I kept going. You know, if you've seen my chart on my website, where I show how much I've grown every year, where I've been, took 5 years to get to 7,000 subscribers or something like that. And I just kept going. And the one thing that I've got was just tenacity and drive, and I will just keep going in the face of adversity. But I made it just incredibly hard on myself, being alone, not being open to sharing with my friends what I was struggling with, and never joining a community. So I think that can really help you. You know, I think trying to go and change your mindset and accomplish big things that nobody around you has done yet. And there are some days that you feel incredibly inspired and motivated and powerful. It's like, yeah, I can do this. but you're probably not living there most of the time. What if you did? Or what if you lived kind of close to that most of the time? And point number one of raising your environment can definitely help. But point number two is just don't try to do it alone. Even if it's one person. You don't have to join Mover Makers, you don't have to join a group, but even just one person who you can talk to, who you can connect with, who you can, share your stories with, not just complain to, not talk about how hard everything is and just have somebody to vent to, but somebody who supports you. If you had a group of people who supported you, where you felt welcome, we felt like you weren't alone on this journey, we felt like people understood you, and were actually genuinely cheering you on to go, become the person that you want to be, everything changes. So raise your environment, get a community, and watch your impact happen.
The free leads you to the paid. If you have no momentum, no traction, no clients, then start for free. Prove your worth and build momentum. Give them something they can't wait to have again and pay for this time. The goal isn't to do free forever, but the free gives you the thing that you're missing the most, which is momentum in your business. So I'm pre-launching my book right now, Built to Serve, and people who buy the book in pre-order also get access to my private Facebook group where I help people one-on-one every week. And so the guy that I had on last week is a coach. He's a health coach. He wants to help people make transformations to their health because he made a radical shift in his health as well. And I said, great, well, how are you doing right now? Well, I have a couple clients, but I'm still working at a restaurant. I want to be able to leave that so I can focus on this full time. Awesome. If you're a coach, what I need to see you is coaching. I need to see you coaching people. What I'd love to see now is an Instagram Live regular show. And what do you do on your Instagram Live? You bring on people who need help being coached through a health transformation. Because it's one thing to say, I'm a coach and I help people get these results. It's another though to actually see people change. To have you go live with them one-on-one and help them bust through their limiting beliefs and their mindset and the issues that they're dealing with. And then to come out on the other side by the end of the call, feeling hope, feeling invigorated, feeling inspired, because people will watch that and say, man, I want a result like that. They see themselves in the client that you're helping and they then want it for themselves. Now, you get two versions. One will be free people. One will be like, can you do me? I'll take it for free, which is great. Don't say no, don't get discouraged, don't get upset. You want the free because the free gives you the content. And so if they're willing to come on and do live on Instagram with you for free, then you do it. And there'll be other people who say, hey, I love what you're doing. I need a radical transformation in my health as well, but I don't want to be on Instagram. I don't want to make it public. Can I hire you privately? Bingo, right? That's what we're looking for. That's when you start getting paid. The free leads to the paid. Whatever it is that you want to get known for, whatever it is you want to start making money with, show it to me publicly for free. And if other people want it publicly for free as well, then it's a yes, especially at the beginning when you have no momentum and no clients and you're working some job that you hate. Yes, for free, yes. One, you get better at it because the more you do, the better you'll get. And two, you're building momentum and people start talking about you. And then you get to the people who will see it and say, I want that person. I want to hire that person. And any repeat people, if they want more, they want coaching session number 2, it's paid. Here's how much it costs. The free leads you to the paid. So how can you do it? I'm going to give you a 3-step process that you can follow. Step number 1 is think, who can you help? Who specifically can you help? Like, who are the people that you want to help? So for me, it'd be entrepreneurs. If you are a makeup artist and you're just doing it for yourself, or you have some job that you hate and you have no aspiration of being an entrepreneur, I might be able to help you a little bit, but it's not my core audience. I want to help entrepreneurs. Who are the people specifically that you want to be helping? So in the case of the guy who was in my insiders group, he started off just saying that he was a transformational coach. Okay, great, but that could be anything. Everybody needs a transformation. Everybody, the whole world needs a transformational coach. Who? Because if you can't tell me exactly who it is that you help, then I can't think of who I can refer you to. You're making it too difficult on people. If you serve everybody, then you serve nobody. So who are you helping? He's like, well, I love helping people who need a big transformational change in their health because that was me. Awesome. Now it's more specific. Step number 2 is, what specifically will you do? How do you help? Are you gonna coach me through a process? You're gonna meditate with me? You're gonna give me, a product that will help me? What specifically will you do? And so with my friend who was in the group, he was saying that he wants to do coaching calls. He coaches people. They don't have to be face-to-face. It can be anywhere in the world as long as he can see them. Great. So that's specifically what you do. You have your methodology, you have your steps. Makes you seem like an expert and you kind of know what you're doing, right? You create your own methodology. Say, here is how I can help people get a result from the problem that they're coming in with. And then step number 3 is think, how can you make it public? You need them to get a result. You need this specific person with this problem to come in. You're gonna help them. You're gonna help them get a result. And I wanna see them get a result. And then how can you make it public so that other people can see it too? So that it's not just you talking about how you had this great result, but it's them in a public forum. So if I see them getting a result, I'm gonna think, I'm just like that person too. I wanna contact you and hire you and bring you on board my team because I want, for me, what you just did to that person. So who can you help? What specifically can you do? And then how can you make it public?
You can change the negative patterns that are running your life. The patterns that you think are impossible to break, that have been with you for life, that will be with you for the rest of your life, you can break them. It starts with a decision. And if you don't want to still be in 20 years living by that same negative pattern that is holding you back, I think this video will help. Most of what we do is subconscious. Most of what we do is beneath the surface. Most of what we do is what we've been conditioned to do and the patterns that we've seen. And if you're watching this, you're likely an adult, and we've been running the same pattern programming for a number of years, if not decades. And it can be really difficult to be able to switch that pattern. But I'm going to give you a formula today that I think will really help, and one that I'm applying myself as well in my life. So step 1 is even just acknowledging that the pattern exists and that you want to make a change. Like, what is the habit? What is the negative loop that's in your mind? What is the thing that you don't want to still be thinking in the next year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? What is that thing? One of the things that I'm working on is moving to a space of great things happen to me. I had a great video coaching session with Beth Hendel, and my big aha moment that came from there was, I believe in the plan. So whenever I am thinking of something, I make a plan, and then I execute the plan. And I do the plan and I follow the plan. And when I don't believe in the plan, then I create a new plan, then I believe in that plan, and that's the thing that gets me going. So I'm very plan, schedule, calendar oriented. That gives me my security, that gives me my identity. And so as long as I have a plan, easy peasy, let's go. We're waking up, we're making videos because it's in the plan. But then what happens on the rare days, maybe once a month, where I don't believe in the plan anymore. I don't think the plan is good enough to get to where I want to go. And I can't make a new plan. I don't know what the next plan should be. What I have done so that I don't get lost and spiral down into negative thinking, into maybe not depression, but anxiety and stress and overwhelm that I don't know what to do next. You ever been faced with that? Like, I don't know what to do next? My plan has been, see, I'm using the words, just to tell myself great things happen to me. This is what I've done. It's been my coping mechanism. The way out of the stress and the anxiety and not knowing what to do next is me telling myself great things happen to me. And what Beth challenged me to do, and the big insight that came from it, was living not in the identity of the plan, but living in the great things happen to me. So now I'm trying to shift my identity from being the guy who believes in the plan to being the guy who believes that great things happen to me. That instead of using great things happen to me just as a coping mechanism on my worst days, the once a month days when I really don't believe that I'm getting closer to my goals or I'm never gonna hit them, and flipping that to being the default mode. That's really hard. I was not born the plan guy. It took me decades. I'm 42 coming up in May. I'm 42, and it took me decades to become the plan guy. 2 decades to become the plan guy. And now I'm not getting rid of the plan guy. Thank you, plan guy. You got me here. I appreciate you, pat on the back. I still need you. Please stay with me on this journey. But I want to be the guy who believes that great things are coming. Because at the end of the day, all your great things, all your great ideas, all your great breakthroughs usually don't come as a result of the plan. It's maybe a byproduct of the plan, but not a direct result of the plan. Because the plan only is something that exists right now. It's what I've talked about, making decisions with your head versus your heart. Big decisions with your heart, small with the head. The head only understands the world that currently exists, where your heart can create something brand new. And so I want to be in the brand new. I want to create something that hasn't been done before. And so you can't plan for something that hasn't been done before. And you need to have some faith that great things will happen. And so that's a long way of me saying that I am trying to become the guy who believes that great things happen to me as a default state. I believe that. When I say that, when I create video and I say that on camera, or when I'm talking, I believe that. I believe the great things come to me. If I keep going, if I keep making, if I keep sharing, if I lead with my heart, if I tap into what I feel is the right thing to do, even if it doesn't make sense, I believe that great things will happen. And I've seen enough of that happen over my life and career that I believe it. And if you're not quite there yet, just look for some small wins. That when you have help, when you have shared, when you have created from the heart, you've gotten some small wins. And if you keep going, you can have slightly bigger wins and medium-sized wins and then large wins and then gigantic wins. If you just keep going. So how do I shift? And we're working through this in real time. I'm not sharing a story that is, 20 years old, like I sometimes might do, the foundation story. So how do I shift? How do I shift from being the plan guy to the great things will happen to me guy? I think it could be a useful mini case study for you if there's something that you want to work on, that you want to improve at. You're tired of telling yourself a different story and you want to shift it. So here's what I'm doing. First off is trigger words, right? So if I say plan, that's a trigger word. Plan, ooh, plan, here's my plan. Like, oof, plan, I said it again. Not that it's bad, right? For yours, it might be bad. It might be a critical, you telling yourself that you're stupid or that you can't, right? Can't could be another a trigger word, or hard is another trigger word. The fact that you're not gonna do something because it's hard, that's a trigger word, right? So what are the trigger words that you tell yourself as to why you can't do something, or that keep you locked in your negative patterns? What are those trigger words that anytime you catch it, you say it, you feel it, you tell somebody else it, that like, oh, there it is again, I'm noticing it. You can tell the people in your life, your family, your friends, your spouse, the people on your team, you can tell them, hey, if I ever say this word, I want you to call me out on it. So you can have people kind of support you through this journey as well. Number two is you try to design in a conscious way, applying it in your life consistently. So the next thing I did as soon as I got off that coaching call with Beth was I told my wife, and I said, hey, great things happen to us. I told her what happened, and great things happened to us. Great things happen to us. Great things happen to us. And I must say that at least 40 times a day. Great things happen to me, talking to myself, or great things happen to us. If you want, you can set it as an alarm in your phone. You could put it as a background on your computer screen. You can put it as a sticky note on the bathroom mirror or the door. I have an email that I sent myself that I didn't delete out of my inbox. So I always see it in my inbox every day when I'm checking my email. I check my email once a day, and it's always the last email that I check because I never remove it from my inbox. And it says, this is your great things happen to you reminder. This is your great things happen to you reminder. Every time it's like, oh, that's right, great things happen to me. Because that's still it's nowhere close to being my default, but I'm working towards becoming that person. So it's the decision to do it, and then with intention, putting things into your calendar so that it happens. So again, maybe you're setting an alarm on your phone, maybe you're putting the picture up on your wall, you're telling your friends and the people around you, and you're finding a way to repeat it. And I'm not judging myself as to, I need to get this done next week. I just want to make a little bit of progress every day. Beth team reached out and wanted to do a round 2 of coaching. And I said, I'm still, thank you. It's amazing. I'm still working on the last thing, The great things happen to me shift in mindset is something that I'm working through, and it's incredibly powerful. And I don't think I need any help for anything else yet. I'm still working through this thing. This week has been a really challenging week for Nina and myself as well. We ran our Build to Serve challenge, which was crazy. When we first did it, the idea that was pitched to me was 7 days, 45 minutes to an hour each day. And we ended up going the 7 days in 3 to 4 hours each day, which I didn't budget for, but it was amazing, helping thought leaders and speakers and coaches and entrepreneurs, authors. Just the energy and the vibe and the love was so amazing that it took up an incredible amount of time. At the same time, we just bought a brand new house, which is super exciting. And so selling this place, and so I had to move my You might notice it's a different background than usual. I guess I could have done it in my car, but I'm not in my usual studio, my office, because we have a makeshift office while we get our place ready to list today. So we're packing and moving and switching all the artwork and all of that stuff while running a challenge. Yesterday, I hit the side of a curb that had like a boulder, and it punctured my tire, and not just like giant hole in my tire. So, okay, we have to go and get the car fixed on top of everything else, which is why I can't film in the car like I normally do, because I don't have a car right now because it's being fixed because I blew out the tire, and just issue over issue over issue. And my niece was with us yesterday, and she made a comment to my wife, Nina, about how calm we were through everything. Like, okay, well, the car tire got blown out. That completely changes how we spend the rest of today now. Instead of doing these errands and taking people here and all of this stuff on Nina's birthday, by the way, it's like, okay, well, here's what we need to do now. Okay, we got to get it fixed. We got to figure out how to solve these other problems, and let's go. And my niece was blown away by how we weren't arguing or fighting or yelling or super stressed. Just, okay, let's solve the problem and keep moving on with our day. Why? Because great things happen to us. Great things happen to us. And that's, when something negative going on, even if it doesn't feel real, it'll be something that Nina and I will laugh over. Great things happen to us. Oh, that happened? Okay, great. Great thing. You know what? Great things happen to us. We will figure out a way through this. Great things happen to us. And in that ongoing conditioning, the more that it's around us, the more that I say it, I believe it a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And I guess you could call it affirmations. I never really connected to affirmations that much, because it felt, if I was saying something that I didn't believe in, that it wouldn't work for me. And because I already believed that it wouldn't work for me, then I've already set myself up for failure from the beginning. I think the key thing is, if you want to be able to change that mindset, you want to change the habit loop, you have to find something that you actually, on your best days, believe. There's a kernel of truth in there, right? If you're 400 pounds and you say, I'm skinny, I'm skinny, I'm skinny, I think a lot of, in your head, you say, well, that's BS, I'm not skinny. And then you don't, there's no even kernel of truth to it, so then you never do the actions to help you get there. Where on your best days, what do you believe about yourself? On your best days, how do you handle problems? So when I say great things happen to me, I believe it. I actually believe that wasn't something that was given to me. That wasn't something that somebody once told me. That wasn't somebody that a coach told me that, hey, you have to use this now as your mantra. I believe it. On my best days, I believe it. I believe it. I can tap into that, and I believe it. There's a kernel of truth to it. And I want to make that kernel, grow into something much, 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 much bigger. So homework would be to think about, on your best days, what do you believe about yourself? What's the specific language, the specific words that you would say to yourself to encourage yourself, or you're looking back and you're proud of yourself? On your best days, what do you believe about yourself? And then finding a way to make that a daily part of your life, so that when the negative things come, you can tell yourself this as a reminder, and it starts to shift everything for you.
The fastest way to achieve your goals is to model the people who've already achieved the same goals that you have. Model success. Success leaves clues, the famous expression. And it's true. People have already figured out the thing that you are struggling to figure out. And the more you are stuck trying to come up with every idea yourself, the harder you're making it on yourself. And this is one of the two fundamental lessons that I have learned in my life that has saved my life and my business. My first company, I learned this lesson first when I was 20 years old out of desperation, where I was making no money and struggling, and I quit on my business partner. I quit, I can't keep going. I quit. And I modeled Bill Gates. I just asked myself, who has done this before? Modeled Bill Gates, put it to work, had some success. I've told the story many times, but it's important because that was the thing that saved me. That's what saved my company. In modeling Bill Gates and how he started Microsoft, that's what saved my business and allowed me to keep going. And I'm now here. If I didn't do that, I'd probably have some job that I'm not happy with. 20 years later, still stuck in the same job that I'm not happy with. And that idea came to me at a moment of desperation. It's not even the smartest idea, right? I wasn't into personal development. I wasn't reading books. I didn't know anything. And I wish I had somebody guide me or mentor me. And it's a very basic idea, model success. I wish I'd watched videos like this. I wish they were available when I was 19, 20 years old. It really just came out of a moment of desperation where I'm at my parents' home crying my face off because I just quit on this business that I cared about, and I didn't want to fail, but I felt there was no option. I just felt overwhelmed, frustrated. It just was not working out, and everything felt lost. And it was only in that absolute moment of crisis that I thought maybe somebody else has done this before. Where up until that point, I felt like I had to come up with every idea myself. Like, oh, maybe we should do this. Maybe we should do that. Maybe we could try this. And nothing seemed to be working. And it wasn't until I asked that question that then I found Bill Gates and how he started Microsoft. And that's what started turning the company around. Whatever problem you're facing right now, it's been addressed many, 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 many times by many, 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 many successful people. Your job becomes to find out who they are and to go back and study how they solve that problem. And it's really important to figure out how they solve the exact problem that you're struggling with right now. So what I told myself when I was looking at Bill Gates was, I don't care how Bill Gates makes an extra $1 million right now. How did he get started? How did he go from 0 to 1? What was the thing that built his company up? And for all of these people, the bigger they are, the easier it is to research their story. Bill Gates only came to mind because I had a software company and I just said, who's built a software company? It was not even that structured or thought out or in depth or in detail. He was the first guy that I thought of that had a software company. Bill Gates, Microsoft. How did he do it? That was it. And in looking at his story, I found out that Microsoft built their business through partnerships. And their big deal came when they made a partnership with IBM. And IBM at the time was the biggest computer manufacturer on the planet. So the deal was every IBM that was shipped, every computer that was shipped from the biggest computer manufacturer in the world had Microsoft software on it. That's a huge deal. That blew up the company. And that was pretty easy to find, right? The transitional moment in the company. It's like, wow, okay, partnerships, that's interesting. I maybe can do that. But Microsoft was already a $7 million company when they made that deal. Now, $7 million was nothing compared to what they would go on to be, right? Billions and billions of dollars. But it was $7 million was still more than what I had, right? $7 million felt like a giant company compared to me making $300 a month, right? So the next layer is to dig a little deeper. Not just their big break, which is important, but how did they get started? Like, how did they get to the big break is really valuable. It's really helpful to figure out. And again, the bigger the person is that you're modeling, the easier it is to find the content. You just might have to dig. You might have to go read biographies, read articles, read interviews, watch videos to figure out those early parts. Not just their upbringing, but what were the things that they did that led to the big breakthrough, not just what the big breakthrough was. Big breakthrough is super important, but the steps that led to the big breakthrough, even more important if you're at the beginning getting started. So Microsoft big breakthrough was the IBM deal. They're already $7 million company. How did they get to become a $7 million company? That was the $1 million question, maybe the $7 million question. And it was still through partnerships. So what Microsoft did was they had software and they looked at any hardware that existed that needed software for it, and they would go and pitch their software. Their first deal was with the MITS Altair, and the MITS Altair was a piece of hardware, and it was featured on the cover of their magazine. That was the big magazine for the computer industry at the time, and they needed software. And Bill Gates called them up with his partner, Paul Allen, and said, hey, we've got software for the Mid-Saltaire that you can use that will make it a lot more valuable to people. And they didn't even have it built yet. On the plane ride over to go meet the company, Bill Gates was finishing up the code to go program, and they hoped that it would work, and luckily it did when they had the meeting. So I don't necessarily like that part of lying that you've got something, but it's interesting to know how he did it. The boldness, the willingness to reach out and say, hey, I've got something that can help you, were things that I really struggled with as a 19-year-old entrepreneur, believing that what I had was great and that I could really solve big problems. Where Bill Gates was saying, yeah, we got this, even though he didn't have it yet, and he wrote it on the plane on the way over, right? But it was still through partnerships. And anytime Microsoft was entering something new, they found partnerships. And so I applied that strategy to me. And I started looking for who can we partner with, not like a business partner where they own a piece of our company, but who can we partner with that it's a distribution deal. And the first company that I made a deal with was out of the UK, and we had a arrangement for them to represent us in the UK and a couple of the markets in Europe where they would be distributing our product, and we made an exclusive deal so that anytime we got a lead from those markets, it would go to them and they would be doing their own marketing promotion as well. And in exchange for that exclusive partnership, they would pay us $13,500 up front. And I remember I was so scared to ask for that. It felt like a giant number. What if they said no, this big potential deal? And they said yes. They said yes, and we had money in our bank account for the first time, which was wild and crazy. And that was a fantastic deal for us. And more important is it gave us hope, which is mega important. It gave us momentum, which is mega important. And it gave us a model to keep following. And so what I ended up doing afterwards was, let's go get more partnership deals. Let's go get more partnership deals. And the people who ended up buying us was basically a partnership deal. So instead of partnering with our company, they just bought the whole business. And that's how we exited. All because of modeling Bill Gates when I quit on my company. So whatever problem you're facing, personal or business, people have solved it. Humans have been around for a long time. Somebody has solved this problem. You do not have to be a genius and come up with every new idea yourself. Can your creativity and love and panache help? Yes, of course. But you don't have to have the seed for every great idea. And chances are, the problem that you're facing right now, there's an answer 10 minutes away from you. From a YouTube video that's online, from a book, from a podcast, from an interview, there's an answer out there for you. And if you just default to saying, I'm going to model success, I'm going to find the people who've done this, and exactly how they solve that specific problem that you're facing right now, not how they're living their life right now, but how did they get over the hurdle that you're facing, when you can dig deep and find those answers. And again, the bigger the person is, the more accessible the content is. If you want to learn about Bill Gates' early life, or Steve Jobs' early life, or Oprah Winfrey's early life, or whoever it is, it's accessible. It's there. You can find this stuff. And it gives you the hope that it's possible for you, and it gives you the specific strategies that you can use to apply to your life right now so you can start seeing results. Success leaves clues. Whatever problem you've got, go model success.
My philosophy on losing is you either win or you learn. You win, you got your goal. Hey, congratulations, pat yourself on the back. Or you learn. You learn how not to do it again. Hopefully you've improved and you've gotten better. It's only a loss if you quit. It's only a loss if you never get back up. It's only a loss if you stop trying. Somebody asked me on my Instagram yesterday, I love this business that I'm doing, but it's just not working out. What do I do? And my answer is, hey, if you still love it, you have to keep going. You have to keep trying. You have to keep getting up. You have to keep not just doing the same thing you've been doing. You have to keep looking, exploring, trying new ways. You have to keep going. Because if you stop now, if you love the thing and you stop now, you will regret that decision for the rest of your life. How many times have you quit on something that you loved and then you look back, you say, what if I just kept going? What if I just tried one more day? What if I just tried one more week? What if I just kept going? Because I would have been in a different spot. And now I regret not trying. if you don't love it, great, quit. I mean, I think people stay in things for too long as well. People stay in businesses for too long. People stay in relationships for too long out of fear, out of insecurity. The love was gone a long time ago, and you should have left a long time ago, but you're too afraid to do it. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what you love doing, and it hasn't worked out yet. You have to keep going. When I was in my first business, this is the thing that really helped me. I was 19 years old. I wanted to quit on my business. I was struggling. I was making no money, $300 a month. I owned 30% of a company that was not making any money. And I was working every day, and I just had enough. I had enough. I was fed up. Like, how much further can I go? How much longer can I go and just not see money and not see results? And I felt like I was a pretty happy, optimistic, positive guy, but it just, every day, it just beat me down a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. And I was too embarrassed and ashamed to tell people, so I was all by myself, and I quit on my business partner. It was the worst day of my life. And the thing that kept me going was the fear of regret. That this is not a loss unless I quit. This is not really a loss unless I actually throw in the towel and go do something else, because I still wanted it to work. In my heart of hearts, I still love this thing. I wanted to do something with it. I was quitting because I wasn't getting the results yet. And what I told myself from 19, almost 20, was when I'm an old man at 40, I'm 40, how old am I now? I'm 41 right now. So it's funny thinking about it, but when I'm an old man at 40 and my life is over and I hate my life and it's it and I'm falling apart, I will regret this. I will regret that I quit. And that feeling gave me the courage to go one more day, to say, I can't quit yet. I have not given it everything that I've got. I have not left it all out on the field, right? There's still more in me to give, to serve, to help. There's more effort. But what it did was forced me to start to think differently, because I couldn't keep going the way I was going, because what I was doing obviously was not working. Every idea that I tried was not working. I needed to think of something radically different. And that's where the idea of modeling success came in for me. It was finally out of desperation, not out of inspiration, not out of mentorship, not out of anything else, not out of genius, wasn't that smart. It was out of desperation that I asked myself, who else has built a software company before? I cannot be the first guy to have tried to do this. There's no way. Somebody has figured this out. Like, who's done this? And by modeling Bill Gates and how he started Microsoft, that started the path for my company to start to have success. In a short amount of time, I closed my first deal. It was $13,500. I felt like I was rich, on top of the world, and it gave me momentum, it gave me hope, and it also gave me a strategy that I could keep using. So if you have lost recently, there's two key ways that you need to get out of it. Okay? The first is emotional, and then the second is strategy, logical. The emotional part is you feel hurt, you feel scared, you feel hopeless, you feel insecure, you feel like this will never work, it may never work, all these people may be relying on you, hopefully nobody saw you fail, we're just afraid of this judgment and disappointing people. You feel like you're not valuable. You feel like you're wasting your time. And so the way to get through the emotional pain is, one, to focus on regret. That if you love this thing and you quit now, you will regret this. Whether it's 10 years in the future, 20 years in the future, 30 years in the future, you don't want to think back. Like, I had that shot back then. I had that shot and I didn't take it and I quit too soon. Like, don't let that be you. Fear of regret. And the second is service. That you're not doing this just for you. That there's people who are struggling and they need your help. They need your support. There's people who will be counting on you, that your story can inspire other people as well. And so sometimes you need the hug, which is service, and sometimes you need the push, which is regret, depending on where you're at, what you're feeling. But when you lose, there are lots of logical, strategic, practical ways to get out. But if you don't solve the emotional issue first, you'll stay stuck. So it's the emotional issue you have to deal with first. That just because you lost doesn't mean that you are a loser as a human, right? Just because your business hasn't worked out yet doesn't mean that you as a person have no self-worth. Your business might not have any worth yet, but it doesn't mean that you have no worth. And that's something that took me a long time to be able to separate out. That you are not your business. You are amazing, you are gifted, you are talented, you are loved, you want to contribute, you want to serve, and then you bring that to your business, not that you are your business. Once you solve the emotional side, then you can work to the practical side. Then you can think about, okay, how do I solve this problem? How do I break out of this rut that I'm facing? And one of my favorite ways now is modeling success, right? Find the person who's done the thing. That's why I make so many videos. That's why I profile so many different entrepreneurs and athletes and coaches and experts, because maybe the way Oprah Winfrey says it, or Tim Grover says it, or Steve Jobs says it, or whoever, maybe the way they say it finally starts to land, finally starts to seep in to give you the idea that you need to then explode your business forward. You first start with the emotional side and solve that you are here to serve, you are valuable, and that you will regret quitting on this thing if you quit too soon. And then you can move to tactics and strategies, just like I did with my business. I quit on my partner and said, I'm done. I need to feel valuable as a human. And realized the next day I leaned in more on the regret. I do not want to live with regret and be an old man at 40 and look back and say, this was my moment. And then that led to the strategy, the practical side, to say, okay, but I can't keep going how I'm going. How do I solve this problem? Okay, modeling success. It's only a loss if you quit. It's only a loss if you stay down. It's only a loss if you tell yourself that you suck and that it will never work out. You either win or you learn. The choice is yours. To get back up, to learn the lessons that you learned, and to take another shot, because your goals matter, because your dreams matter, because the thing that you've got inside your heart right here can have a huge impact on the world, and we need to get the message out.
When you figure out what you stand for, everything becomes so much easier. I meet a lot of entrepreneurs who they're doing this and they're doing that and they're doing this and they're doing also this thing, and it feels like it's all over the place, right? Have you ever felt that? You're doing so many things and it feels like it's all over the place and you don't know how to bring it together. It doesn't feel like it fits together. Nobody understands what you're doing either. The way to bring it together is to figure out your most important core value. If you actually did the exercise, and I've talked about this in both my books, Built to Serve, Your One Word. If you actually did the exercise, you think about, what do I stand for? If you had to pick something right now, your single most important core value, what would you pick? Mine is believe. What's yours? And there's all sorts of exercises we can get into on how to actually do it if you're struggling with that. But just pick something. It's not going to be so far off. Whatever comes to mind right now, pick that. Now look at everything that you're creating, that you're selling, that you're offering, that's in your mind. And they all now kind of make sense. Everything that I do is belief. Whether it's making videos like this, whether it's making my NFT projects, whether it's going on my Discord, whether it's my other social media content strategies, whether it's speaking, whether it's books, whether it's my entrepreneur heroes trading cards that we turned entrepreneurs into heroes and made them their own baseball cards and use that to raise 6 figures for Kiva to help entrepreneurs in Africa build their businesses, right? Whatever I'm doing, it feels like it could be all over the place, but it's not, because it's still belief. Because at the end of the day, what I want to do is spread belief. Jeff Bezos wants to spread customer obsession. He wants to make a better experience for customers. And so he's in all sorts of different fields. Why? It feels like it's all over the place. It's not, because Amazon is not just a book business. Amazon is in the customer experience business. Right? That's his most important core value. What's your most important core value? It'll help make everything make more sense. It'll help make your life make more sense, your business make more sense, and it'll help your customers understand better what you're doing. I remember watching a clip of Jay-Z being interviewed, and they were asking him, how do you move from making music to
being an entrepreneur, to having all these businesses? How does that make sense? And he said, it's just an extension of being creative. See, for him, it's not just about the music, it's about expressing creativity. And every field can add more creativity. Entrepreneurship can be more creative. Investing can be more creative. Product lines can be more creative. He sees himself not as a musician, but as a force of creativity. His most important core value is creativity. So it just makes sense to him to be able to jump from one field to another, to another, to another, where most people are stuck in the craft, right? You don't just do one thing. You don't want to do one thing. That's why you're an entrepreneur. You don't want to just do one little narrow thing for the rest of your life. But it feels like you're all over the place. And you are, until you can wrap it under your most important core value. And what that does is gives you permission to explore and to try and to taste and to go into new fields. But also the ability to do something much bigger. Because whatever your most important core value is, that's what you want to spread to the world. I want to spread more belief to the world. Jay-Z wants to spread more creativity to the world. And he could have done what most people do. Most rappers, most musicians stick to just doing that thing. Okay, well, that's what I love and that's what I know, and so I'm just going to stick to doing that. How you become mogul status, right? How you start to change the rules of the game, how you start to have a much wider impact and bigger reach is to recognize that I don't just do one thing. I don't just have one skill. I've got a message. I've got a core value I want to put out to the world. And there's multiple ways for me able to do that. So Jay-Z sees himself through the lens of creativity. And then it makes sense. And it gives himself the permission to go off and chase those other ambitions. So for you, think about what is that most important core value? And some easy hacks, again, both my books go through this in a lot more detail, but think about who your favorite teacher was growing up. Think about what you loved about your parents. Think about your favorite movies, your favorite songs. Think about anything that made you come alive, any experience. Why did you love that teacher? For me, it was my OAC, my grade 12 French teacher. Why? It's not because she taught me French. Your favorite teacher wasn't because they taught you a subject matter. It's because they made you a better human. Madame Farr at my school, she helped me believe in myself more. When I doubted myself, when I wasn't getting the grades that I wanted to get, she helped turn me from a B and C student to a straight A+ student in my last year because she believed in me and she taught me how to believe in myself. That's why I love her, not because she taught me French, right? Who was your favorite teacher? Why? Why? They made you a better human somehow. What was it about them? And when you can connect the dots on all the things that make you come alive from your favorite teacher and favorite books and favorite music, favorite lyrics, favorite TV shows, favorite movies, favorite friends, right? Favorite heroes, you can connect the dots. You like them, but instead of it being a happenstance, like you hope that good things happen to you, you can now design it. You can engineer it. I want to bring more belief into my life. And now that that's on my consciousness, now that I'm aware of it, I can make that happen as opposed to just hoping something positive happens to me. When you figure out your one word, your most important core value, you can engineer your life to bring more of that into you. And then the more you have, you can give more, you can serve more, you can help more, you can uplift up others more. You can motivate and inspire and give courage and hope to the world more because you have more to give, right? If you're running on empty, you don't have much to give to anybody. So it starts with that awareness of what is your single most important core value. And then bring that to your life and your business. I believe Bezos is about customer experience. Jay-Z is about creativity. What are you? What are you? What do you value the most? And then with that lens, look at your life, look at your business, and see where are you following through and crushing it, and where are you not living up to it? Where are you doing the wrong things? What area of your life needs a little bit more of that? Because when you can look at your life through that lens, that's your best self looking back at you. That's the life you want to be living. Your highest self looking back at you and saying, hey, right here,
The reason why you're not happy is because you're not living your most important core value. Figure that out, and you have a roadmap, you have a guide, you have a compass for the rest of your life.
You have no idea what you're capable of. You have no idea. You have no idea the person you could be, the things you could accomplish, the things you can do, the people you can serve. You have no idea. That's why I don't like 10-year goals. 10-year goals. Think about who you used to be 10 years ago. You know, could that person accurately, with any degree of certainty, predict where you could be right now? No. Like, if you're growing and you're learning and you're improving and you're expanding, you're investing in yourself, there's no way that you know where you're going to be in 1 year, let alone 5 years or 10 years. You have no idea what you're capable of. And so it comes down to questioning everything. To question what you can and can't do. You know, we're told the story growing up of what you should do, and we're told everything, right? You're told when to show up and where to go and what to wear and what to eat and at what age you should get married and what kind of career you should go into, right? We're told we should do all these things. You're told, you're like, who? You know, nobody ever thought to ask us what we want for our lives. And you may not even know, and that's okay. Like, you may know where you want to go next, but you may not ultimately know the final destination. It's awesome. You know, I think if you know the final destination, you're thinking small. Apart from having a mission, you know, the mission, the purpose. Why do you do what you do? I want to solve the world's biggest problem. People don't believe in themselves enough. That's what I'm chasing down every day. Do I know where I'm going to be in a year? Nope. Am I still making videos? Probably, but who knows? Like, question everything. I want people to believe in themselves more. What's the best way to do that? Right now, it's through YouTube. But I think a lot of times people have too certain of a plan, and then they end up playing small, because there's nothing wrong with having goals and plans, but sometimes you need to jump off that. If you have a 10-year goal, quite often you need to jump off that goal 2 years in, because something better has come along that actually better serves who you are right now, because the goal you set was for who you used to be. You know, have you felt that? And so I'm here at Genius Network, and this is a group of super successful entrepreneurs that meets once a month and masterminds and talk about their business, and pay a lot of money to be a part of something like this. And every time I'm around people who are having a high degree of success, I always try to have them pick me apart. So when we do, there's an exercise called hot seats, where you go around on a table and you basically share what you think your biggest problem is. And whenever it gets to my turn, I just want people to ask me questions, because your biggest problem is you don't know what your biggest problem is. Right? Your biggest problem is you don't know what your biggest problem is. If you knew what your biggest problem was, you can go and solve it. For entrepreneurs, for ambitious people, you've got goals. It's like, you don't know what the real problem is. The problem you think you have is a problem. You know, the problem you think you have, yes, very much is a problem, but there's a deeper problem underneath it that you're missing, that I'm missing. So this is where questioning everything becomes important. My default has become, instead of pretending like I know everything and I know all my problems, that I don't know anything, and ask me questions. And in the process of asking me questions and learning about me, maybe you come up with some insight that I'd never seen before. Everybody has their own way of processing giving advice, you know? So I'm around people here. Everybody here has a 7 or 8 figure or 9 figure business, and people here have sold their businesses for 9 figures. Crazy. Awesome. And so they have their own way of processing things and asking questions and breaking somebody down. So instead of me coming in with the question and having them try to fit into my box, I'd rather fit into theirs. Because in trying to understand how they process things, it'll probably make me stretch and grow and learn. And I'm probably gonna get a better result, because they're gonna see something that I don't see. And so in the process of questioning everything, when people can break you down and you're open to it, right? Because we hold on to our identity. Like, no, that's not gonna work for me. You know, even, got a bee. I am allergic to bees. Maybe I should question that. I don't feel like questioning that today, though. Do not want to get stung by a bee. I once got stung by a bee, and only time in my life I've been stung by a bee, and I was on the floor, and my back just swelled up from the bee sting. Anyway, maybe question everything except bee stings. How about that? There's been times when people have given me advice and it made sense and it really fit, and sometimes when it didn't. And even if it doesn't make sense, what I'll default in my head to saying is this is either nothing, like the person didn't read me correctly, or it's the whole thing. Think about it. If you're really opposed to somebody's advice or feedback for you, if somebody gives you great advice, like, oh wow, that's really cool, I should go and do that. Cool. They met you where you are at and you understand it. But there'll be other times when it doesn't feel right. And it could be that it just wasn't a fit and they're giving you the wrong advice, or you're so blind, and this is what gets me excited, is maybe I'm so blind, maybe I believe my story so much that the thing that you're talking about is actually the whole thing. Like it's all I should care about. Because figuring out how to solve that, because I'm so tied to my own story that I'm not questioning enough. I'm coming back to the B spot, hopefully it's gone. I'm not questioning enough, and figuring that out becomes the whole unlock. So a quick story on this. I did a life coaching session with Gary Vee's life coach, Beth Hendel. And at first I was shocked. I didn't know Gary Vee had a life coach, and so I was very excited to talk to her. And just like I've been explaining in this video, I went through her process. Like, how do you ask questions? What do you want to know about me? I don't want it to be, if this is a coaching session, just treat me as a client. Treat me as somebody who you're going to coach. What do you need to know from my story and how I act? And I'm gonna be as open, as honest as possible. And what it led to was a lot of the stuff she was saying was great, but my single biggest insight and takeaway was this, and I'm practicing this every single day now. The one takeaway that has honestly changed my life. Historically, I've been the person who believes in the plan. So what's my plan to get to the next step? Like, I want to go here, what's my plan? What's my plan? What's my plan? So I have the belief in the plan. And I wake up every day and I just do the plan because I believe in the plan. I'll have some days where I don't believe in the plan anymore. Like, will this plan help get me anywhere? Is this plan still working? And like, it's not working anymore. And that leads to some anxiety for me because I believe in the plan. And when the plan doesn't work, what happens? And so what I'll end up doing is making a new plan. So I have a plan, I believe in a plan until I don't believe in it anymore, causes anxiety, come up with a new plan. You following? So in creating a new plan, then I have certainty in the plan again and I'm fine and I'm rocking and rolling. But there are some days when I can't come up with a new plan. The plan I have, I don't believe in anymore, and I'm racking my brain to come up with a new plan and I can't come up with a new plan. If I'm the kind of person who believes in the plan and then I can't come up with a new plan, that's a really stress-inducing, anxiety-filled place to be. And it doesn't happen that often. But when it does, and I can't come up with a new plan, especially in the moment, well, what I would end up telling myself is great things happen to me. You know what happened? Great things happen to you. And I would use it as a self-soothing mechanism, as a coping mechanism, because I didn't want to just stay locked in that stress and it would be a downward spiral. Like if I believe in the plan and the plan's not working and I can't come up with a new plan, then I don't know what to do with my life. And that would create a downward spiral. I've never gone anywhere close to depression or suicide, but that could lead to some dark places. And so the way that I come out of it is just say, great things will happen to me. Great things happen to me. They always happen to me. Great things happen to me, and I'll figure this out. And that gives me the comfort to move forward into the uncertainty, and then something will come that I will solve it. And what she said was, Gary Vee's life coach was, what you say to yourself when you need that self-soothing of great things happen to you needs to be your default state. So instead of believing in the plan as your default state and only going to great things happen to you when you are at the lowest of your low, flip it to the point where great things happen to you is the default, because that's where you're actually your best self. And I really felt that. I don't know how to do it, but even in questioning how do I do it, I just have to believe that great things happen to me. So a big part of my routine now is I don't know how many times I'll say that to myself, feel that great things happen to me. I'm gonna put it as my new cell phone background. It's a constant reminder. Even making this video is another reinforcement of it. When people ask me what my goals are, there's been these exercises we've been doing in Genius Network here, and I just keep reminding myself, I don't know. I don't have a 10-year goal. Great things happen to me. It's a constant reminder. And I used to live it before this awareness. I don't know, like how many times would I feel really down and low and anxiety filled that I couldn't come up with a new plan? Maybe half of 1% of the time, like really small amounts. And now I'm probably living in great things happen to me maybe 5% of the time, 10% of the time, which is a huge jump from half of 1%, but it's still not my default mode yet. I'm still a believe in the plan guy. That's my ongoing challenge to myself. That's how I'm questioning. It's the willingness to question what you're doing. Because what you're doing right now has gotten you to where you're at. And if you're happy with where you're at, cool. But if you want more, you want to create more, you want to serve more, you want to bring more, you want to help more, you want more, you want to change, and you have to change. And the change starts with not just questioning everything out there, but question everything in here. Questioning what you believe to be true, questioning who you think you are, questioning for sure what you think you're capable of. Because when you can get to the root of that, amazing things can happen.
Great ideas flow through you. Teach yourself to learn, to understand, to feel that great ideas flow through you. That when you are feeling bold, powerful, courageous, ambitious, an idea comes to you, that is the right, perfect idea for you right now. And don't let your head talk you down from doing it. I think most of us live small. I think we're constantly living small. We're so concerned about our friends telling us that our ideas suck. It's us. It's ourselves. It's you telling yourself that your idea sucks, that you can never do that. We feel great one day. This is the entrepreneur roller coaster, right? You feel great one day. Oh my God, this is such a great idea. I could go do this. This is amazing. And maybe you start taking some action on it. But then what immediately happens is your head starts taking over. So, well, you can't do that because you don't have the school, the education, the parents, the connections. You live in the wrong country. You're the wrong gender, race, etc. And then it stops. Meanwhile, dummies are winning off of your idea. With less heart, with less drive, with less ambition, with less of a desire to do good, they're winning off of your idea because they went off and did something while you are stuck overthinking your idea. This is what we do. This is what entrepreneurs, especially the heart-centered ones, do. Stuck constantly overanalyzing, overthinking, and stuck in the mud instead of actually creating. And the way to go through it is to trust in your ideas. If you're concerned that that's too egotistical, like, oh, I'm so great, I got these great ideas, great, take yourself out of the equation. Trust that the idea came from somewhere and it was given to you. And it's your responsibility to birth it into life. It's not even your idea, it was given to you. And then go off and create. One of the things that has really helped me achieve speed and momentum is I've learned to not judge the ideas that come to me. I've just said, you know what? Because I came up with this idea, now I have to go do something about it. And sometimes it turns into the next great thing, and sometimes it goes nowhere. That's okay, right? The first top 10 video I ever made on my channel was on Kanye West, and he's behind me on the wall. There he is, Kanye West. Because my friend made a blog post about Kanye that was in a negative light, and so I wanted to make it positive. Say, hey, you can learn from him. And so I made a top 10 video on Kanye West just to show my friend. I had other things planned today, shut that all down just to make this one video, just to show my friend. With no plan of, this is gonna be my next big idea, right? People say, well, how did you know? I didn't know. I got an idea and I did something about it. I'm not that smart to be able to project 10 years forward and say, here's where the world is going, right? Maybe I can leave that to Elon Musk. I'm not that smart. But it came to me, so I did it. And it turned into something amazing. I've had other ideas that I started and they didn't go anywhere. Either the idea wasn't good enough or more likely, my energy just kind of faded from it. And so I stopped doing it, but at least I gave it a shot. All of these ideas that you've got, you don't know which one's gonna work out. They could all be, practically speaking, great ideas. What's the best idea for you? I don't know. You don't know either until you start to try it by taking immediate action on it. You have to trust in your ideas, that they came to you for a reason and you're supposed to do something about them. So how do we start doing it? How do you start taking the action? How do you start getting unstuck in your head of all the stuff that holds us back from actually creating? Let me give you some steps. Step number 1, idea to action. take your brain out of the equation. There's a phrase that when you're in your head, you're dead. Like as soon as you start overthinking something, it's over. You came up with the idea, you're gonna do something about it. When? Today. You came with the idea, so you're gonna do something about it. When? Today. Right now. What's your next idea? What are you thinking of right now? Go do something about it. Immediate action. Because you came up with the idea, therefore you must go do the thing. That's the training you want to give yourself. Doesn't mean you have to go and do some big thing, but you have to get started. Immediate momentum. You want to start a YouTube channel. Great. You pull out your phone and you make a video. Doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what the lighting is. Don't worry about the sound. Don't worry about having a fancy microphone or a fancy camera. You pull out your phone, you press record, and you say you're starting a channel, and you post that first video. Okay, but then it's gonna suck. Great, which leads to point number 2. Expect to suck at the beginning. Why do you expect to be great out of the gate? You will not be great out of the gate. Doesn't mean that you suck as a human, just means that your product sucks. But it's your first attempt, that's okay. When you try anything, you fall. When you get on a bicycle, you didn't just ride, right? You get a skateboard, you didn't just go. You're gonna suck. That's okay. That's the learning process. You're gonna learn a lot more and get better a lot quicker by actually trying, where we're stuck in learning and researching and planning, and then nothing ends up getting created. You are wasting your best energy on planning. This is what most people do. This is what happens almost all the time. You come with an idea, you think it's a great idea. Oh my gosh, it's such a great idea. Great. You spend the next day or until you go to sleep planning, researching, preparing, and then you wake up tomorrow and say, I can't do that. That's crazy. That idea I had yesterday is crazy. I can't do that. Who did I think I was to be able to do that? You spent your best energy, your most confident energy, your most bold energy on doing the wrong thing, planning instead of making. Planning is important, but it's not the first thing you should do. The first thing you do is take some kind of action, some kind of immediate momentum, some kind of commitment, especially to somebody else, that you're going to do something. So if you want to start a YouTube channel, you take out your phone and say, hi, I'm going to start my YouTube channel. I don't know what I'm going to make content of. I'm really nervous, but I've been putting this off for 5 years and I'm tired of putting things off. So I don't know, join my journey and let's see how it goes. Great, post. And as you start making, you're going to get better at it. Your first thing is supposed to suck. If you're going to get started, you're going to start making YouTube videos as an example, and your first video is amazing, then you actually suck. Then you waited too long. Your first version of whatever you do should be terrible. That's okay. So step 1 is listen to the ideas. Trust the ideas. They are right for you because they came to you. You got to do something about it. Take immediate action. And then step number 2 is expect to suck. Reduce the burden of expectation on yourself that you have to be great from the start. As kids, we do this, right? We start, we try, we fail, we laugh, ha ha ha. And as adults, all of a sudden, we're afraid to do anything. And what you do is just slide into more of your comfort zone and more of your comfort zone, more of your comfort zone, and more of your comfort zone, and then realize, why do I hate my life so much? Because you're doing the same thing every day because you're afraid to branch out a little bit. Just expect to suck. Reduce that burden that you have to be amazing. And if you keep practicing, you keep loving it, you keep building it, guess what? You're going to get great at it. It doesn't have to take a decade. There's hacks, there's shortcuts. Model success, you'll get there faster, but you still have to do the journey. And step 1 of the journey is the most important step and is also the most painful step, that it's going to suck. Amazing. Every time you suck at something at the start, pat yourself on the back. You did a good job. Step number 3, and this is just the caveat, is pay attention to your energy when you come up with ideas, okay? I'm assuming you're in a positive, bold, ambitious, confident, courageous state. When you are feeling a positive emotion, the ideas that flow through you are the right ideas for you. However, when you're feeling negative, low, you're feeling judgmental, you're feeling anger, you're feeling depression, you're feeling rage, you're upset that somebody else is having success, when you're in a negative mindset, the ideas that come to you are not the ones for you. Those are the ones to sit on, right? Like, I'm going to show her, I'm going to do this thing to him. I'm going to get my revenge by doing that. Okay. Those are the ideas to sit on. And it's funny because those are the ideas we usually act on. The spontaneous ideas that come to you that are negative, you're more likely to act on than the spontaneous ones that come to you that are positive. You're more likely to send that nasty text or leave that negative review or do that negative thing instead of the positive one. And so if you're in a negative state of mind, that's when it's worth waiting till tomorrow. You know, if tomorrow you think it's the right call, okay, then let's think about it. But not in the moment. Don't do the negative ones in the moment. But if it's positive, if you just came back from a seminar, or you're watching this video, or you're around amazing humans and you get these great ideas, those are the ones that you need to take some immediate action on. You have amazing ideas. You have a heart and a soul that wants to serve, that wants to help, that wants to contribute, that wants to not just fill your pockets and fill your bank account, but also contribute and help other people. You know you've got something much bigger inside you. But it does not come out unless you start to listen to those ideas and start to do something about them. So the next time an idea comes to you, maybe you got one right now, maybe something's flowing through you right now, learn to trust that idea. Tell yourself that great ideas flow through you, that you need to take some immediate action on it, and that it's gonna suck at the beginning, and that's the best, and that's how you learn. Because if you kept doing that, do that for 3 months, do that for 6 months, do that for 12 months. The amount of amazing things you're gonna help create for yourself, for your family, for your community, for the world is gonna be just outstanding. And I can't wait to see what you end up making.
As an introvert, making connections always seemed incredibly scary to me. I hate going to networking events. I'm not the life of a party. I don't know how to approach people and ask them questions. And it always just felt, I think at the end of the day, very fake and inauthentic and just not me. You know, I don't know how to introduce myself, and I don't know what to talk about. I want to sit here and talk. I'm here in Arizona and it's beautiful and it's sunny and it's amazing, but I don't want to just talk about the weather. You know, I don't want to talk about boring, superficial stuff. And it took me a long time to get comfortable coming to events. And this is actually a great moment because I'm here at Genius Network. I just came out of a 2-day event where people are paying $25,000 to be part of, and the next 2 days, it's another event where they're paying $100,000 to be part of, and I'm a guest here speaking at both events. And I would have never, like younger Evan would have never come to something like this, because not that it's not valuable, just I would have been too afraid to network and to ask for help and to introduce myself and all of those things. What I've discovered, if you're an introvert, what I've discovered is that introverts are great listeners and we care, and you can be a fantastic networker if you're an introvert. But your goal is not to know the entire room, and the goal is not to run into the event and say, look at me, here's what I do, and wear the shiniest suit and be the loudmouth. If that's you, awesome, roll with it. But if it's not, your goal is to just connect with a few people on a really meaningful level. I've connected over the past couple of days with some amazing people who've given me some amazing advice and connections and experiences and just amazing people. But it hasn't been, there's lots of people who I haven't connected with. You know, there were maybe 50 people here over the past 2 days, and in the more expensive group, I think there's 30 people or 20 people coming, and I probably won't get to talk to everybody. Probably not, I mean, maybe. But I'm not judging myself for not knowing everybody. I'm not judging myself for how many business cards I leave with. Do people still use business cards? I don't have any business cards. I'm not judging myself by if I connected with them or not. It's more, I'd rather spend time with a few people who I can connect with on some kind of level, and that ends up leading to so much better things. Joe Polish is the guy who runs this, so this is his office, and he's the one puts these events together, and he's known as the most connected man in the world, right? Some of his bios and websites will say, when people talk about him, he's the most connected man in the world. In hanging around him for the past few days, I can understand why. So if we're gonna reverse engineer Joe Polish's success, and he'll say that he's, you know, on the introverted side, he's invited me to his home. I came in a couple days early and helped him with his team and his channel, and he invited me to stay at his home. today's our day off in between the two events, and he's invited me to go work out with him and go do some IVs with vitamins in it and go sit in a hot sauna, then jump in an ice cold bath, and asking me how I'm doing and what I'm up to, and if I need anything, or if I want to use his office. I mean, I'm using his office, I guess the outside, to film today. It's too beautiful a day not to film outside, but whatever I need. He doesn't just do that for anybody. You know, he's not just going to open up his home for anybody. And he's really trying to spend time. I think about me if I would do that. And I'm thinking, man, probably not. And so that's maybe a learning for me, because I've run events, I've hosted my own events, and they usually just knock me out. When I've hosted my Thought Leadership Academy in Toronto, it would knock me out. I mean, the last day of my event, I remember I passed out. Like, I had a break of 15 minutes, and I passed out and fell asleep on a floor, like on my dance floor, because I was giving so much, and then my body gave out on me. And so I couldn't imagine then also, like, Joe's got such a crazy week. Think about how much people are paying him, right? They pay him $25,000 for the event that just finished, and then $100,000 for the event that's coming up. You got to deliver some value, right? If people are coming and they're paying $100,000 to be here, that's got to be, at least for me, incredibly stressful to do that. And while he's in the middle of all of that, he's worried about me and how I'm doing, and if I want to stay with him, and if I want to go do some vitamin IVs, and if I'm being looked after, if I need an internet connection or a place to work, and the amount of texts that he sent while he's in the sauna or working out or doing his meetings. I was like, how are you still thinking about me? You've got so much going on. I mean, it's something that I'm honestly inspired by and I find aspirational. But he does it so well, and it's like he can't do that for everybody. And so, I'm grateful, I guess, that he saw something in me that he'd want to spend that kind of time with. But he's very selective over who he brings in, and then once you're in, he's going to be the greatest resource of all time. And I think that's how you win, ultimately, at least for me. I think it's a fantastic model for me to learn from and keep trying to do better at. And that, how can you win as an introvert when you are networking and trying to help people? Introverts are great listeners. Introverts care. We want to help. We want to serve. And we can't do it for everybody, because if we let too many people in, then we have no energy for ourselves. And recognize that that's how that's your secret superpower. That's your superpower. Your superpower, my superpower, is to find just a few people at every place you go to. Your goal is not to meet the whole event. It's meet a few people and figure out how you can help them and genuinely help them, like genuinely serve them, not just, if I help them do this and they're gonna help me do that, right? Don't approach it as a transaction. I think introverts are great at this, right? It's not a transaction. We value relationships, but are too afraid to go up and say hi to people and don't like the fluffy talk. So just make it a goal to find a few people and be of service, and great things happen. One of the things I've taken away and just reinforced from the past couple of days is great things happen to me. And I'm actually becoming less of a goal person. Like, where do you want to be next year? I have no idea, because great things happen to me. Because if you keep pouring into other people and keep bringing value and keep helping, great things will happen to you that you never thought of, that you never thought would exist, and yet here they are now showing up in your life. And so a challenge for you would be to think about whether it's the next event you're going to, or even just some people in your network. Like, who do you already know? Who are good people? Be in the business of collecting good people. Like, who do you already know who's a good person, who you want to serve and help on a deeper level, and just find a way to reach out and help them. Be of service. I make a list of the top kind of 100 people that I want to stay in touch with, because I'll forget to stay in touch. I'm too present-minded focused. But if I haven't stayed in touch with them in the past 90 days, I'll find some way to help, whether it's sharing something on social, whether it's making a video, giving them some YouTube advice, just connecting, asking how it can be a resource. I schedule in the ongoing connection because these people have helped me a lot, and I want to continue to help them. And if you just go in strategy, continue to help successful people will lead to you having more success because they will find ways to come back and help you. You're almost guilting them to do it. Even better is to not even be as strategic about it. Just by putting out good energy, just by serving others, just by using that good karma, it comes. And in the process of giving, if you can remind yourself that great things happen to you, that if I just keep showing up and serving and helping and doing my very best every day, great things will happen to me. Great things will happen to you. Great things will happen to you. You just have to keep going.
You are what you consistently do. It's not what you do some of the times. It's not what you do when you feel motivated or you had enough sleep or that it's the perfect conditions out there. You are what you consistently do. The one-off moments don't mean anything. You can have a chocolate bar, but if the rest of your days are eating healthy all the time, guess what? You're not going to gain a ton of weight. And likewise, the other way around, if you have a life that you're not following through on any of your goals, and then you have one great moment or one great day, guess what? You fall back down. This is where a lot of entrepreneurs struggle because you have these moments where you feel alive, empowered, on top of the world, amazing, and you might even put a little bit of that into practice. But if it's not consistent, then it never happens. And it's almost better to not even know what you're capable of. This is part of the curse of being an entrepreneur is you know you're capable of great things. You see an amazing future, an amazing world of what you could build, but then you also see your lack of follow through and the lack of delivery and the lack of execution. And it's that constant grind against your self-worth to say, I should be doing more, but I'm not. It's almost better to have no goals and have no dreams and have no ambition, because then you're good. Then you're in bliss because you're ignorant of what you're capable of. So how do you fix it? I look at myself, and anytime I want to make a change in my life, it goes to the schedule. My schedule has to map to my ambitions, right? Your schedule needs to map to your ambitions. What you say you want out of life needs to be in your life, right? Hope is not enough. Hoping that you have enough inspiration, hoping that you get motivated, hoping that you'll be ready one day, that's not enough. It's not a day of the week, right? Someday is not a day of the week. Sunday is, but someday is not a day of the week. And so whatever you want out of life has to be in your calendar. Whatever success looks like for you, health, finances, relationships, whatever it looks like for you, whatever that perfect vision is in your head, whatever you have on your dream board of what you want to accomplish in your life. Okay, great. How do you accomplish that? How do you get there? It's your habits. Success is habits. Success equals habits. Where are your habits? In your calendar. So what are you doing when you wake up in the morning? What are you doing every single day of the week? What are you doing for planning for the quarter and the week and even the year ahead? What are you doing? What are you doing to change what's in your calendar to make sure that if you actually did those things, like if you look at your week, look at your next week, look at what's in your calendar, your health goals, your relationship goals, not just the goals, but the execution against it. You can say you want to have a great body or you want to get healthy this year. Great. What does that look like? Where in your calendar are you spending time planning your food and working out and taking care of yourself? It has to be a time, not just a blank space. This is the problem. We'll book a lot of our business stuff, but not our personal stuff. I book all my personal stuff. My time with Nina is in my calendar. The time to celebrate with the kids and family is in the calendar. It's in the calendar. It's as important as a business meeting. Because what happens is when you have blank spots in your calendar, you start living an unintentional life, right? When you set up a calendar and you create the blocks of time for where you're going to spend, when you're going to wake up and what you're going to work on and when you're going to take care of your body and when you're going to take care of your relationships or take care of self, right? When that's in your calendar, that's living an intentional life. When you just have a bunch of blank spots, you get distracted. You pull out your phone and dive into Instagram, and 3 hours later, you're still on it and you feel worse about yourself. So it's about creating an intentional life for yourself, and that starts with your calendar. You are what you consistently do. You are what you repeatedly do. So how do we do it? How are some of the steps? What are the 3 action items for you? Well, step 1 is to figure out what do you want, especially on a belief scale. Like, what do you want to believe? What is the difference between where you are now and where you want to go. And this can be hard for achievers because you probably are the most ambitious person that you know, right? You're the one who's caring about other people. You're the one encouraging other people, but nobody's doing it for you. So what are the beliefs that you need to have? What's the most important belief change that you need to have that you're not getting from your immediate circle? Doesn't mean you stop pouring into other people. Keep doing that. It's amazing. You're built to serve. It's going to fill you up. But you need something to pour into you. Otherwise, you don't grow. Right? If you're just feeding other people and nothing's feeding you, you don't grow. You're just going to get drained. So what's going to be feeding into you? The belief that would make the difference between where you are right now and where you want to be. What is that single belief? Great. So getting clear on what that one. Don't worry about having 100 different beliefs yet. Tackle one thing at a time. What's the single most important belief that you need to have for yourself to get your next level of growth? Great. Step number 2. Who is doing that right now? Who is doing that? And creating an environment and habits around it. So for me, I want to believe in myself more. I want to spread more belief to other people as well. So what's in my environment? Well, my physical environment, you can see here, from me wearing this outfit to having, the pictures behind me on the wall. These people all inspire me for different reasons, to the videos that I make and consume, to the work that I do in my community, to the new Discord that I set up, evancarmichael.biz, if you want to come and join us. That's part of what I do every day to make me feel like I believe in myself more, believe in me as a human, believe in the work that I'm doing, believe that it will work out. I want more belief, and I've designed habits and rituals to help me get it. Where most people, again, do not wake up and feel like today's going to be an amazing day and they're just bursting full of energy and on top of the world from the moment they wake up. No, I woke up this morning. It was just past 7. I don't sleep to an alarm, so I woke up and I wake up when my body tells me to wake up. So I woke up just past 7. I didn't know what day it was. I'm tired. I wake up, I go to the bathroom, and on my way, I put on an oldies song, and oldies music gets me moving, gets me bouncing, gets me jiving, and then immediately start going to community stuff, right? I'm in the bathroom, I'm listening to my oldies, I look at my intention for the day. Today I'm recording YouTube videos. How do I want to show up? What do I want to do? Who do I want to be? Showing up on the content, and then go to community. And I join my Discord, and I'm giving love to people because it makes me feel like what I do matters, and it makes me feel more belief, right? I've got videos on that, remind me of who I want to be. I'm around my heroes and mentors, but deciding the difference that you need to believe between now and where you're going, and then 2, putting it into your calendar, especially the morning routine of how you're going to show up. So it's not an accident, so that you don't hope that you show up and you do it today, but that it's marked in your calendar. And in step 3, and this is the hardest for a lot of people, is you do what's in your calendar. Here's a really important rule that if you do this, it will change your life. When you are deciding what to do in your calendar on the day of, you cannot change what's in today's calendar. You can change tomorrow's, but you can't change today's. Here's what I mean. If you're looking at your calendar and you set out your goals, right? Here's who I want to be this week. Here's what I want to get done this week. I want to wake up at this time, and I want to work out, and I want to connect with my family, and I want to serve, and whatever the chunks of time are for you. There's a tendency to, in the moment, change. Where on Sunday, you looked at your calendar and said, here's what I'm going to do. This is going to be an exciting week. It's great. But then come Thursday morning, you don't want to wake up at that time. Or you see what's in the calendar, it's like, I don't want to go for that run. I don't want to make those calls. I don't want to make those videos. And then you don't. And you quickly fall off track. Sound familiar? Is it making sense? It looks so great on the weekend when you plan this, but now when you're actually doing it, you don't do it. And then what happens is the next time you say you're going to do something, you don't believe yourself because you let yourself off the hook too easily. So the rule becomes you can only change tomorrow's calendar, not today. You're tired. You had a rough day. You don't think this workout's working for you anymore. You don't think making videos is aligned with you anymore. Great. Tomorrow, you don't have to do it. Tomorrow, you can change. But today, you're doing it because you said you were going to do it. Tomorrow, you can sleep in because last night you had a rough night. So today, you're extra tired. But you're still getting up when you said you were going to get up, and you still do the things that are in your calendar. And then tomorrow, you can sleep in. And tomorrow, you can adjust the workout, the business plan, whatever, if it doesn't feel right anymore, but not today. Don't trust yourself in the moment because your brain is going to tell you to play small. Your brain is going to remind you why you can't do these things. Your brain is going to find a reason for you to let yourself off the hook again, like it did last time. You know what you want. It's what you said you were going to do on the weekend when you look at your calendar. You have to show up the day of. So you have to get really clear on the belief that you want to have that will make the difference for you. You need to surround yourself with those heroes and role models and change your morning routine to reflect it. And then you need to actually do what's in your calendar. And if something's off or doesn't work, you change it for tomorrow, but you can't change it in the moment. You are what you consistently do. You know you've got so much inside you and so much that you want to share and serve and help. And you keep letting yourself down. And it's time to change it. You're ready to change it. You're ready to move past it. You're ready to be the person who follows through. You're ready to be the person who, with that big dream, starts to make momentum towards it. The only difference is being the person who does what you consistently say you will do.
So I love seeing how people do their daily routines. I love seeing how they start the day. I love seeing what their workout routines are, mindset routines are, because hopefully you can pick up one little tweak, one little hack, one little thing that you can try out on your own to be able to make your life a little bit better. I'm sitting here outside Genius Network. We've just been having some amazing meetings. I spent the past 2 days in a group where you pay $25,000 a year to be in, and the next 2 days we have to pay $100,000 a year to be in. And I'm grateful to be able to meet some amazing humans who built some amazing businesses. And so this video leads to a couple of thoughts for me. The first is, I think it's great to have a healthy balance of order and chaos. Most days you live in order. Most days you should have a morning routine. Most days you wake up and you do the thing you say you're going to do. Most days, whether it's working out or for your business, for your mindset, feeding information into you. I go on my believe walks every morning. Some of the things I do, right? Somebody asked me yesterday, how do you stay so positive? Well, I go on a believe walk every morning. I go outside, get some sun. It's nice here in Arizona. Let me show you. It's snowing right now. I'm filming this the end of April, and it's snowing in Toronto. But I'm here. Crazy sun, super grateful. We got palm trees in the back. I'm gonna get some of the sun out of my face. But I go for my believe walk pretty much every morning. And on a believe walk, what that is just helping me set my mind for the day. What do I want to accomplish today? What am I doing today? I forget, I forget what my responsibilities are and why I'm doing it. Because no matter how great a day I had yesterday, today I wake up and feel like I'm starting over. And so having something in the morning that helps you remind yourself of the intention that you've got for today, I think is really valuable. It's really helpful. At least it is for me. Having music on, putting music on that makes you bounce, makes you go up, and makes you move. Because when you move, it transforms your mind as well. When your body's moving, your mind starts moving. When your body is slow and lazy and tired, then your mind is slow and lazy and tired as well. And then feeding my brain with knowledge, with inspiration, it's why I make all these videos, because I want to learn from Naveen Jain. I want to learn from Oprah Winfrey. I want to learn from Elon Musk. I want to learn from people who are thinking just way bigger than me. And so I think back to the idea of order versus chaos. Most days you should wake up and be in order. Most days you should wake up and do your routine. Most days you should wake up and do what you said you were going to do, because these are the things that works for you. Every now and then, though, it's great to inject some chaos, because entrepreneurs, we love chaos. And it's great to challenge the order, and it's great to see, is this thing that I was doing, does it still serve me? Does it still work for me? Is it still something that I want to be doing? And so that's where going to an event, going to a conference, going to meet other people, right? So I'm hanging out with all these successful entrepreneurs here in Arizona, and it's great. And a lot of it is a reinforcement of what I'm already doing is working, and you hopefully pick up some nuggets. This is a 10-day trip, 11-day trip, something like that. On my first 2 days here, they gave us free breakfast at the hotel. And so my wife, Nina, was here with me. And we went for the breakfast the first 2 days. And I don't usually eat breakfast. I don't usually eat until at least 2 o'clock. So I'll eat between 2 and 6 o'clock every day. Sometimes I start at 2, sometimes I start at 6, or somewhere in between. I'm usually done by 8. And that's what I do on a daily basis. But since I was away, you know what, let's have some breakfast. And I wasn't like junking out on every sweet cereal and syrup all over the place, but I intently kind of went off my routine still did my believe walk, still did the music. And then after 2 days, like, you know what, if I keep doing this for the next 10 days, 11 days, I'm going to be, I'm not going to feel right, you know? And so I'm right now back on my routine. And the little bit of chaos every now and then I think is good. It helps you identify, is the things that I'm doing, is it working? Is it helping me? Do I want to keep doing it or not? What is serving me ongoing? And so sometimes you need to get out of your environment to get that shift. So going to an event, going to a conference, meeting other people, being around more ambitious or equally ambitious people as you can help you come back with some new ideas. Even if you go on vacation, like you ever go on a vacation, you come back and like, I want to do this, and this. You feel rejuvenated, you feel energetic, you feel alive, you feel ready to go off and just make some big change, right? Because you change your environment, and so that will force some chaos into you that can hopefully lead to some positive results. So I think most days you should live in the order. You know, here's my routine, and I think it works, and I'm sticking to it. And then every now and then you need to inject a little bit of chaos into it, and hopefully in that chaos it's something positive that you're injecting into yourself that makes you pause, makes you reflect, and makes you see, is this order that I've set up for myself still lead me to the life that I want? One of the things that I have taken away from the past 2 days of hanging with the 25K a year members is the importance of tracking. And right now what I've done then is started tracking what time I eat every day and how many push-ups, jumping jacks, and squats that I'm doing every day. And one of the speakers was talking about in general, as entrepreneurs, what we're always trying to do is go for new highs. What's our new high? Break a new record, right? Go for new highs. Where a great way to think about it is, instead of always trying to break new highs, because that's almost impossible to do, just work on your bad days. Work on raising the lows. So if you're thinking about a health goal, for example, and you want to hit a certain weight, well, you're the average of what you've done for the past year, right? If you eat like crap half the time and eat super healthy half the time, you're going to get a certain weight outcome. If you eat or fast some days but then eat super junky other days, you'll get a certain weight outcome. So you're the average of all your highs and lows. And we tend to focus only on the highs, and we don't focus enough on the lows. Where if you can just, instead of always focusing on getting better highs, just lowering the impact of the lows, then you can get a better average result, which is what your end result ends up being. And so you don't know until you track it. So if you're on a health journey, there may be days you eat super clean, awesome, and you can eat cleaner on some days, great, but you'll probably get the best results by those days where you fall off the rails, where you cheat, where you make yourself not so proud. Where if I'm having breakfast at the buffet at the hotel, on the bad days, you don't let it go too bad. There's a concept of bumpers, like in a bowling alley, you have bumpers down the side. And so you don't let it get too bad. And so if you cheat or you eat, then you're not having all like pounds of syrup and everything else, that you minimize the impact. Or if you're gonna work out, or you're gonna make your calls, you're gonna make some videos, that whatever your worst days are, just making them not as bad. And track. So by tracking, you can see how well you're doing. And so I started tracking what time I ate. So yesterday was the first day, so I ate at 6:15. I didn't eat anything all day, ate at 6:15 at night. I ended up doing, 50 push-ups, 100 squats, and 200 jumping jacks, something like that. And then today I'll start tracking again. And it gives you a baseline for where you're at. And so that's a new thing that I'm gonna try. And right now my plan is track those metrics, what time I ate, how many push-ups, jumping jacks, and squats that I do every day. Those 4 things that I'm measuring, and track that every day just on a piece of paper. And then on the weekend, transfer that into a Google Sheet. And so I have historic data. Now, here's the thing, it's an idea. Right now, I'm super excited about the idea. I'm away from my environment, I've injected chaos into it, and I got inspired to do this. So immediate action, I'm doing it, right? You don't have to wait to go home to buy a Fitbit, to buy a fancy tracker, to XYZ, right? This is what we tend to do. You get inspired by something, and then you go off and you plan and plan and plan, and when I get home, or next week, or next month, or on my birthday, or New Year, I'm gonna do it. I said, just do it, just get started. Just immediate imperfect action is always the answer. And I'm excited by it right now. And it might make a huge difference to me. It might be a big game changer. It might be all I talk about, to give you advice for the next 10 years of my life. Or maybe it fizzles out, or maybe I try it for 3 days and I leave here in a couple days, and then that's it, and I don't do it again. It's still worth the experiment, and that's what chaos brings. The chaos brings new ideas, and the newness is not productive. The newness is creative, but the newness is going to fail a lot. The newness is not going to be efficient. Again, it won't be productive, and we judge ourselves that every new idea has to be the perfect idea. It's the exact opposite. You know, like new ideas, most of them will fail. And it's not that it's a bad idea, it just may not be the right idea for you at this moment in your life right now. And so I'm trying it. But in general, back to the idea of order and chaos, I think most days you should wake up and have a schedule. I think most days you should wake up and do the thing, at least talking to myself, Evan Carmichael. Evan, most days you should wake up and have a schedule. Most days you should wake up and do the thing that you said you were going to do and have your routine and stick to it, because that has consistently gotten you results. And if you keep doing that, you'll keep getting more results. And every now and then, you need to inject a little bit of chaos into it. You need to be around other people who are doing big things. You need to question the order and question the structure and ask yourself, does this structure right now still serve me? And is there a better way? And it's in that combination that I think you ultimately find your happiness, your success, your purpose, and you get the life that you want.
The biggest risk is not taking a risk at all. I love it. So many people are so afraid to follow their dreams, to have this big idea that they have that they want to go off and accomplish. We have this big vision for ourselves, and we're so afraid of making the wrong decision that we do nothing. That you see this big goal and you have 3, 4, 5 potential paths, and you have limited resources, limited time, limited money, limited abilities, and you want to say, I need to make the perfect decision. Because if I make the wrong one, it all falls apart. And as a result, we get paralyzed by fear and we do nothing. And that's the biggest risk of all. That's when you see somebody else making tons of money off your ideas. That's when you fast forward 10 years and you still haven't done anything. You're still in the exact same position that you are now. Meanwhile, lots of people have taken that idea that you had and are crushing it. And so the way to get over it is to recognize that as soon as you get an idea, you need to find some small way to test it. And that you don't have all the answers. And that's okay, and that you're going to figure it out along the way. Don't be naive like I was to think that you can create a business plan and it's going to be the perfect business plan. You're going to have all the answers figured out, and then you're just going to execute that business plan. Because as soon as you finish writing your business plan and you get out into the world and you start testing your assumptions, you'll find out that you made a lot of mistakes, that a lot of what you thought would happen didn't happen. You couldn't predict the future. You couldn't predict how customers would react. You can't come up with the perfect plan just sitting in your apartment, sitting on your couch, going to the library. You have to actually get out and start talking to customers, test your assumptions. That was my biggest problem in my first business. I spent 3 months working on the perfect business plan, and then when I got out to market, I realized a lot of what I thought was going to happen, a lot of what I thought the reactions would be, is not what actually happened. And that set me behind. And so being attached to that perfect idea, understand that that doesn't exist. There is no perfect plan. There is no perfect idea. As soon as you get something in your head, as soon as you get an idea for something to do, then find some small way to get out and start testing it. Find some small way to get out and start seeing, are you getting yeses? Are you getting traction? Do you even enjoy this? A lot of times these big goals that we have for ourselves, when you get into it, you want to be a YouTuber, great. You start making videos, you're like, yeah, I don't really like that. Go figure that out as soon as possible. People wait years before they go out and try their first attempt at it, and then they realize, you know what, that wasn't for me. And so I strongly encourage you to, one, as soon as you get an idea for something you want to test out, something that you think might work, find some immediate way to test it on a small scale. Don't take a big risk. Don't go mortgage your house. Don't go take out a giant loan. I hate spending money until I'm making money. Find some small way to get started.
What's the most important part of my morning routine? It's remembering the intention. How do I want today to go? Not just having a list of to-dos, but actually writing down how you want to feel and that message to yourself to give you the extra push that you need to move it forward. Come up with your intentions. Whether you want to do my method and the night before, write down your calendar and how you want to feel, or if it's just the first thing in the morning, you're looking at your calendar. That's what I used to do before writing it down. I just pull up my phone, load my calendar, and just see what was on my list for today, because I'd often forget, what am I doing today? I don't know, I just woke up, I'm tired. I look at my calendar, and then with each one, I would just mentally go through, instead of writing it, how do I want to show up for this person? If I'm making YouTube videos, how do I want to show up on camera? How do I want to show up for my audience? How do I want to show up for for you. I would just mentally think about that as I go through the day. And I basically wake up, go to the bathroom, pull up my phone and start going through my calendar. That's it. And how I want to feel, the intention going through each individual item on my calendar. What I love about this is I find that I'm a little more courageous at night compared to in the morning. I just had a day, hopefully it was a good day, hopefully I served, I helped. It's often after I answer some questions on Instagram, so I'm in the service heart and mindset. And I think about, how do I want to show up tomorrow? If you find that you have more energy at night or more clarity or more boldness at night, then do that. Think about, how do you want to show up tomorrow? What are your tasks? Write them down. And with each one, just write down what the intention is. How do you want to show up as a human for each one? So not just a list of to-dos, but how you want to feel going into each one. Look, even as an example, every day at 2:30, I spend time with Nina. Okay? Every day, 2:30. Take a break from whatever I'm doing, spend time with Nina. We usually go outside for a walk with the dogs. If it's raining, we'll stay inside and do something together. Just a quick break in the middle of the day to spend time together. And that's in my calendar. And on my calendar, it says 2:30, half an hour break with Nina. But I wrote down, what's my intention, right? So not just time with Nina, I wrote down, have fun and make her feel loved. And I wrote something else down yesterday, but that's my intention for today. Have fun and make her feel loved. So last night I wrote that down. I'm looking at Nina. She's lying in bed. She's about to fall asleep. And I want to think, how do I want to show up for her tomorrow for our break? Have fun and make her feel loved. So I look at that again this morning. And I look at it again right now. And then here's what's going to happen at 2:30. 2:30, I'm going to be done filming my videos. I'm going to look at my calendar, look at my sheet here. Let's say 2:30, time with Nina. Have fun, make her feel loved. Just that reminder will make me show up differently. If your goal is to have fun, if your goal is to make somebody feel loved, you're going to show up slightly differently. I'm going to show up with more love, with more energy, maybe pulling some kind of joke, maybe picking her up and turning her in a circle, something. I'm going to show up slightly different because I reminded myself that it's not just a break. The intention is to have fun and make her feel loved. And so if you do that for all of the items on your calendar, for every meeting that you've got, for every quiet time that you've got, for every creative moment that you've got, how do you want to show up? If you can write it down, I love the night before, and then under each one, how do you want to show up? That prime, when you look at it, just before you go into the task, will help you show up as you'd like, as your most bold, courageous, proud self.
I think entrepreneurs are going to solve every problem. I think whatever problem there is in the world, entrepreneurs are going to be the ones who solve it. And there's definitely a place for government and everything else, but I just default to thinking it's us, it's entrepreneurs, we're going to do it. We see a problem, we want to fix it. Be the change you want to see in the world. And that's really at the crux of a successful business. When people ask me, how do you make money as an entrepreneur? Well, you solve a problem with something that you love doing. If you are solving somebody else's problem that they're struggling with, you can get paid to do it. And if you love doing that thing, then that's how you start having a business, right? That can have success, long-term, sustainable. If you solve a problem, but you don't love doing it, you're gonna end up burning out, phasing out, people will be better than you at it. It won't be sustainable because you don't love the thing. And if you just love the thing, but you're not solving a problem, then you've got a hobby, right? If you love doing something, but it doesn't solve anybody's problem, you've got a hobby. And it could be fulfilling and enriching for the soul, but that's not a business. It's in that combination of what solves a real problem that you enjoy doing, that's how you start to make money. I think one of the biggest problems though for entrepreneurs is we don't know what the problem is. We think we know what the problem is, but we don't know what the problem is, especially when it's for ourselves. We think that we know what our problems are, but we don't actually know our problems because we're too in the thing. Have you ever noticed how it's easier to point out somebody else's problems? Like, you should be doing this. You know what's wrong with this business? They should be doing that. But it's harder to look at ourselves and say, here's the biggest problem that I'm facing right now. At least I find this as a challenge. I'm sitting here at Genius Network. This is it's a mastermind, it's a success circle of people who are having 7, 8, 9-figure businesses, and they meet once a month to help each other out. And one of my favorite exercises is when you basically go down and it's called hot seat, and you think about what your biggest problem is, and they put you in groups, and then you're explaining your problem to the other people in your group, and you get suggestions, you get feedback, and these are all peers, people who've done equally or maybe even more things than you have, and it's great to get, at least I think, a fresh perspective. And so yesterday, one of the members that I was in that group with, he came up and he said, my biggest problem is I need to have more structure in my life. I need to be more intentional with my time. I'm too all over the place. I'm too, creative and I, it's got me this far, but it's not going to be the thing that gets me to the next step. I need to have more discipline and schedule. And the first person started giving him some advice, and she was telling him how she sets her schedule and gives some feedback. And the thing that just kept flowing through my mind, and when it came to me to give advice, I just asked him the question, do you even want this? Do you even want this? And he's like, it sounds like prison. As a guy's actually been in prison before, so he knows what that feels like. He's like, when I think about it, when I talk about it, it feels like I'm in prison. And that is a classic case for a lot of entrepreneurs who want freedom, who are creative, who want to be out. Like, creativity is messy. Creativity is messy. And so you can't be productive and you can't be efficient if you're being creative. And knowing a little bit about him, said, dude, that's not your problem. See, this is where we got caught up in our own traps, in our own thinking, because we can't self-diagnose very well. We often need people to help us. So when he says, my problem is I'm not being intentional enough with my time and I'm wasting a lot of time, I need to be more structured, that's not his problem. In fact, what he needs to do is the exact opposite. He needs to be spending more time in his zone of genius. He needs to be spending more time being creative. He needs to have the freedom to be able to spend 3 days swimming with alpacas, if that's the thing that is in his mind, because it's going to lead to some awesome new creation. That if you take a creative genius like he is and you force him into a structure and a schedule, then he's going to end up in a prison, like he said. And just imagine, if he lives a week like that versus a month like that versus 6 months like that versus a year like that, the more he's trapped in that prison, the less effective he's actually going to be. He might be really efficient and productive for a short amount of time, but he's going to end up hating his life, and he's not going to birth any new creative things into the world, and he's out of his zone of genius. And so his real problem is he doesn't have the person on his team to be that number 2 to take things over. And he hasn't assigned that person the responsibilities or given them permission to be able to run with those things. He's already built a 7-figure business. So it's not like I'm talking to somebody who's brand new startup, doesn't know what he's doing, right? This is a already successful entrepreneur. But again, it's easy to spot the problems in other people's businesses and other people's lives and sometimes in our own. And so the problem was different than the problem that he thought he had. And solving the right problem by getting some perspective will change his life. Just as I was talking and expressing what I thought about him, you could see that he starts to come alive. And at the end, he's like, I feel that. And this is the guy who's really in tune with body and energy. And he's like, I feel that. And he's like touching his heart, as he's doing it. And like, thank you, and what a gift. And so we solved the right problem. And so if you are struggling right now, I think one of the best things you can do is one, model success. So go find the people who've done what you're trying to do and see what resonates. Bill Gates saved my business, even though I've never met him, because I had a software company and I looked at Bill Gates, who started a software company, and that's what I modeled, and it started to work. But I think even more importantly, if you're really struggling right now, is to be around other people who might be able to help. Because you're around some people, even if you're shy and introverted like me, you still have some people around you. The problem is they can't tell you what the problem is. Their version of the problem is something you don't want to hear. I don't believe in negative or toxic people. I don't think that's what's going on, but they're, hurt people. So they could be in a lot of pain. They could be hurt. They have a different perspective, one that you don't want their life. You don't respect their opinion on the thing that you're asking about. And so you're just probably around the wrong people. And to be able to change that, to shift that, you might be able to, this group here, one group was $25,000 a year to be in, the other's $100,000 to be in. So you may not be able to afford to go to a group like that, but you don't need it, because you don't need it yet. The most important thing is momentum, to start building, to start being around more positive, optimistic, happy people who you do respect, you can do something with. I made a group called Movement Makers,
And every 2 weeks we meet, and these are people who want to be thought leaders, who want to share, want to help, have a message on their heart and need to get out to the world. And it's great to be around me, and I teach and I share and I give my perspective. But the biggest learning, I think, honestly, is by them being connected to each other, by them doing challenges and projects together, by them interviewing each other on their channels so that they're not alone and they have people to talk to and connect with and feel like this matters and there's some momentum, because whatever you want to do, the people around you don't understand it, right? If you're an entrepreneur, you're a little bit crazy. It's awesome. Like, high five, I love you, celebrate. But you're a little bit crazy and different, and the people around you don't understand you. And some people might just be supportive, just not know what to tell you. And other people might be straight out negative and say, stop doing that. Be practical, be realistic, go get a job, go to school, go X, go live a safe life. And you don't want that life. And so you need to start being around the people, collect good people who support you, who cheer you on, who believe in you, who say that you can do things, who still push you, but in a positive, loving way forward, as opposed to a negative way down, that makes you feel like things are possible. And so how do you find those people? Well, you could join a group, right? I mean, Genius Network might be a fit for you if you've got a big budget. Mover Makers might be a fit for you if you're trying to be a thought leader. But actively look for people, actively look for events and conferences and groups, even if it's a free meetup group at the beginning. Like, actively look to be around people who are close to you, or online groups that you can join, but that are around the same interests as you. Because when you're around the people who are trying to do the same thing that you are trying to do, even if they haven't quite done it yet, it's not only mentoring where they've done it and they're showing you the ropes, even if it's they're trying to do it and you're trying to do it, to be around people who are ambitious, who want to chase down their dream and goals and achieve something, right, and make something of their lives. If you're around those people, it will just fill you with more energy. It will fill you with more energy and make you feel like hope is possible. That'll be my immediate action item. To, yes, have the environment, pay attention to who you subscribe to on YouTube and who you follow on Instagram and the books that you're reading and the content you're consuming. Does it lift you up? Does it make you feel better and belief and give you hope and strategies and tactics on what to actually do? And look at your circle. And are you with the right people? And if not, then just don't make it some big thing that you have to go join this giant group that's super expensive. Just start with, who can I talk to right now? You know, who's trying to do this thing with me too? Who's even at my level that I can build and grow and learn with? And if you just switch your mindset to start to look, to start to search, to go to Google and type in your city and look for groups, or to think about the industry you want to be in, like how to be a thought leader or how to be a XYZ, whatever it is that you are in, whatever your business is, and to find groups of people who are doing it. You know, you want to be the Toastmasters for speakers or whatever it is, there's a group to just join and try it. Because, man, when you are around people who are doing things, it just breathes so much more life, energy, and momentum into your mission.
Figure out what your trigger words are. What are your trigger words? What are the things that you say to yourself that keep you small, that keep you scared, that keep you safe, that keep you from living your dreams? What are the trigger words that you use? So for me, it's scary, difficult, and hard. Whenever I say scary, difficult, and hard, those are the things that have become my trigger words, and now I have to go do the things because I said them, because I wrote them, I texted them, I said them, I thought them, right? When you figure out what your trigger words are, then whenever you say them, it's an indication of, here I am again playing small. Here I am again telling myself that I can't do it. Here I am again accepting these reasons that I no longer want to accept. Being afraid is a classic one for a lot of people. Well, I didn't do it because I was afraid. And you've accepted the fact that you're afraid as being a good enough reason for you not to do the thing that you want to do. And I would like to challenge that and say that's no longer a good enough reason. Nope, not anymore. Not for you, not for what you're capable of, not for where you want to go, not for the impact that you can have. Nope, not a good enough reason anymore. Let's go. So if you just sit and think about, what are the trigger words that you say? What's the language that you use that keeps you small, scared, protected, that you no longer want to be good enough reasons, that you want to be free of, rid of, and that we're taking from our subconscious mind automatic patterns into our conscious, into, no, I am going to make a change in my life. I no longer want to be this person. I need to evolve and grow and get better and be better because I'm capable, right? You. So when you figure out your trigger words and try to come up with them. But it's a good exercise to do right now. What are the words that you tell yourself
when you're scared, when you're afraid, when you've got big ideas and you talk yourself down from them? What's the language you use? You can start by just taking on mine, scary, difficult, hard, or you can come up with your own. But the idea becomes anytime you see yourself using that language, it triggers you to then make a shift, to say, oh, okay, because I said that, because I said scary, difficult, or hard, now I'm going to do it just because I'm the kind of person who does scary, who does difficult, who loves hard. And when you can take those words that have previously disempowered you and flip them so that they become empowering for you, that's how you start to shift your identity forward. At the end of the day, the thing that matters is how you feel about yourself when you're by yourself. The language you use to talk about yourself, the messaging you have to yourself when you look at yourself in the mirror, when you're going to sleep, when there's nobody else around you. Because when you can build that self-belief, when you can build that self-love, when you can build that self-confidence, that self-esteem, that becomes the rocket fuel for you to build the great life for you, your family, the people around you, and create the impact that you know you're capable of having.
What is the life that you want? What are the goals that you have for yourself? Where do you want to be in your health, in your relationships, in your business, your finances? What do you actually want out of life? Not what somebody else's perfect life looks like. Right? You go on Instagram and you see people living on the beach and rolling around in money. Like that, maybe that's what you want, but maybe it's not what you want. Right? We get pulled into all these different directions because we don't have clarity over what we actually want. So what do you actually want? What do you want out of life? Where do you want your business to be? What kind of company do you want to run? What are the ethics and morals that your company is based off of? Who do you want to serve and how do you want to help them? How do you want to show up in your relationship? Who are you looking for in your partner? If you already have a partner, how do you want to show up better for them? All of the things that matter to you, to get as clear as possible so that when you see somebody else is doing something else and they're happy, great. You don't have to go do it because you're happy chasing down your goals. Part of the challenge is we see other people who are happy, and often it's not even real happiness. It's just, fake happiness for the camera. But you see somebody who looks happy, you know that you're not happy, and you think, well, maybe if I did that, then I'll be happy. Maybe if I go write a poem like they did, I'll be happy. And then you start to write a poem and realize I hate writing poems, right? So it's getting clear over what do you actually want in your life? Who's the person that you want to be? And again, from your finances to your business, to the relationships, to your to health, the different areas of your life. Get as clear as you can on the things that you want out of your life. Because you made it this far in a video, I want to celebrate you. Most people start and don't finish. Most people never actually follow through. Most people say they want something, but they don't ever do the work to actually get it. But you're different. You are special. Believe Nation, you made it here all the way to the end, and I love you. So as a special celebration, if you put a hashtag Believe down in the comments below on this video, I will showcase you and celebrate you somewhere on the screen in a future video because you are awesome.
For 10 more amazing rules from Alex Hormozi, check the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
Hard work will not make you rich. I get driven nuts by the amount of gurus and influencers and whatever who want to brag and say, no one can outwork me, I'm the best in the world. So many people outwork me.